You smoking?
No, smoke away all you want. Like, I don't give a shit.
Fucking smothered since the 1 hour round. And I don't get. I do get it. I didn't wear rain pants.
Yeah.
And I got soaked. I had a good fucking. I did well. I got some. Well, I didn't do well, but I got some super fucking shots. You know, on day 2 of the champs. On that part of the course.
Yeah.
I was unbelievable with the 1 hour round over there.
All right.
Especially with the long ones.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I put one clip up.
So the Bow 100 champs that you and me were in the same group, like.
Yeah,
is
yeah.
it? Oh, yeah.
On day 2.
Yeah.
That round, I died of death.
Right,
I just fucking died.
But you're saying when you shot it as the 1 arrow, you did well, yeah?
Super.
Yeah.
I was fucking totally stoked with it.
Yeah, I wonder why. Did you find yourself, like, focusing on that first shot? The only shot.
Well, it is. I think that's a lot.
It's the only shot you get, like.
But as well, it was like there was no break. I suppose you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's an intense day.
Yeah.
And you might get after you'll get maybe a coffee break, but then driving home, and then maybe you didn't get the right sleep.
Yeah.
Then you're coming back the next day.
I know.
I think that because I found I went to Dunbrody this year now was way better. Even though I was in a tent, I didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I shot better the Sunday as well at Dunbrody.
Yeah.
Because I stayed in the fucking tent.
Yeah, but like, look, there's a good group of lads now and ladies as well that I would identify closely with in the archery circles that I would consider to be friends, right?
Yeah.
And I have noticed that as maybe it's because we're aging as well, right? That like the social side of archery is becoming way more important than the shooting. Do you know what I mean? Than the scoring, like. You know what I mean? Like, and like at Dunbrody there, when we were all having the crack, camping out, chilling out by the campfire, playing a few songs, talking shite, drinking a few beers and stuff like that. To me, I like that. That is about as happy as I could ever be, like in a single moment, doing stuff like that. You know what I mean? And like the archery is the reason we go there, but it's kind of secondary to that social thing. Yeah,
we pack it. And we're here now. Let's fucking do everything.
And I start to think of those kind of weekends away now, and especially since I got involved in the last say 3 years doing the UKIFAC. I treat those as like holidays now. Oh. You know, like so, like next year if we go to Scotland, it's not an if, it's a when we go to Scotland. Like I'm thinking. That's near enough my birthday next year. I'm gonna fucking treat myself to a holiday in fucking Scotland. Do you know what I mean? And like the archery will be the crack, but it's the holidays what I'm looking.
What month is that on?
July next year.
Oh, July.
Yeah, nice. It's like the second week of July or second weekend of July, something like that. Whichever the dates are.
I'd say it might be too close for comfort now for me because we go to Prague like clockwork.
Oh yeah, well
we're looking to knock 3 weeks out of it this time instead of 2.
Yeah, but it's family like over there, isn't it?
I'm going to Prague.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Dude, cigars, fucking whiskey.
Yeah.
All right, it'll only have maybe 3 nights in the course of 3 weeks.
Yeah,
I'm going 3 nights.
Nice.
I haven't a clue what anyone is saying to me.
Yeah,
I just said, that's great.
Happy days.
I just philosophizing.
I haven't been to Prague actually.
Prague is fucking.
I've done a few places now that I really enjoyed. Budapest. Did Budapest.
Nice.
Really enjoyed that. We did New Year's. This is a long time ago now. Did New Year's Eve in Budapest. That was awesome. It was just so cool. I just liked it. It's nice, you know. Like it was just a little bit different than your predictable places to go to. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But it's weird because the last time we were in Prague, we were just coming home from some part of I don't know where we were, some museum or something. Was it a transport museum with all the old trams and shit of Prague and history? It was kind of cool for like 10 minutes, but the kids dragged it out for an hour. They loved it. So on the way back from there to the apartment, I was thinking, we haven't even seen a fucking, it's so vast.
Yeah.
And then there's other cities.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm just kind of coming to terms now where like, I want to see another city. I love coming to Prague.
Yeah. Because
I associate it with hanging out with her dad and stuff, which is a fucking buzz.
Yeah.
And they have like a weekend house culture over there.
Yeah.
Most people are in the city working and then they go fuck off to their weekend house, like cabins and shit.
I know.
And the crack is mighty then. You just go fucking full tilt.
Happy days.
But I definitely because we're not going to go anywhere else. Well, the grandfather's there and stuff.
Yeah.
You want to go to where he is.
Yeah.
Don't be going to Spain and all these other holidays.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Time is what it is.
Exactly.
He's no spring chicken, and you
what's the point in dragging him across half of Europe? Like,
he's got issues there as well, because he's in a situation where he's got people over there. He's got his own life going on. You can't just fucking kidnap him. We've tried a few times. Took him fishing. I don't fish, but I love giving it a go.
Yeah, of course.
Beach casting is my favourite.
Yeah.
They mock the shit out of me beach cast because I'm like a ballerina apparently.
All right.
Because I tried to I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm loving it. You know what I mean? So we were doing that, and then we went. Where do we go? We tried to get a boat one time, but I don't think it worked out. But we went fishing a whole bunch of times.
Yeah.
And he's mad, because he's landlocked in Prague.
But
But he's always had a huge affinity with the sea and lighthouses and all that jazz.
Yeah.
So we went fishing, and I hadn't a clue what I was doing. But one of my sister's ex-husbands now, at the time, he was... He got all the gear, he brought us down there, and they caught this fucking fish. We went to Kennedy Pier after the beach.
Yeah.
It was a fucking action-packed day, like, it was really cool.
Awesome, yeah.
And he got these big fucking fish off Kennedy Pier and Cove?
Jeez, I don't know the name of the pier, but I know. Yeah.
And we went back to his then in Kilworth, to the sister and stuff, and he cooked. He was a fucking dinger of cooking food. It was a splendid day.
Yeah.
You know, you remember these things.
They're gems. Like, they're absolute gems.
So that's why I'm like, well, look, I got these two podcasts now, separate entities altogether on Spotify, and they're English speaking, but Prague based.
Right.
And it's like one guy's going around talking to people who moved to Prague from somewhere else, and they're chit-chatting about that. But now it's starting to go off to other cities.
Right.
So it's like, I'll be listening to that, trying to let's go there, it sounds cool. And it's like maybe 3 hours from Prague, 2 hours. But the transport system in the Czech Republic is stellar.
Yeah.
We're fucking Stone Age here, man.
Like,
we seem to think we're America or something.
Yeah.
We're fucked.
Yeah.
We're so bad. It's
I love the arrogance of people that say or think that Eastern Europe is behind.
Isn't it?
My whole it's behind.
They're so far ahead of us at so many levels, man. It's sad.
Yeah.
No, we're just America's little pet. And
you know what? I'd agree with you entirely. I actually consider Ireland to be the 51st state.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I was one day it dawned on me I was near enough to where my parents live in Limerick, where I was born. And I saw this guy driving along in a Ford Mustang, right, with a Starbucks in his hand.
Oh Christ!
Right? And I was thinking to myself, now I've been to America quite a lot. And a lot of youngsters still aspire or dream to go to see America,
very strong.
Right? And I spent a fair bit of time. I'm very, very familiar with America, or should I specify the USA more than America?
It's
right?
hard to know now these days.
But it just struck me. I went, well, fuck me anyway. A Mustang and a cup of Starbucks as you're cruising down the street in Limerick, do you know what I mean? No, this wasn't yesterday. This is years ago. This didn't happen just yesterday. This has been going on. Like the Americanization. It's not their fault. It's not like
it is their fault.
No, but it's not. It's like Ireland turning into kind of an American American type of culture. It's not specifically. There's still a shitload of Irish culture stuff.
I think there is, yeah.
But let's just say the American influence. I mean, I wouldn't say that Americans have gone out of their way to influence like us specifically. It's just something that's happened.
It's just the whole world.
It's just something that's happened.
But they're such a unique project, if you will, with the self-governance and all of that jazz, and the rock and roll and the blues and Hollywood, and they did capture the imagination. The propaganda machine worked perfectly.
Yeah, well,
and of course it's going to, if you're a free-thinking, fucking enthusiastic individual, and you think mad shit all the time.
Yeah,
there's a lot about America. I thought I'd be living in America by the time I was 18.
Yeah, we all had aspired to something similar. You know what I mean? I remember when I was in the 90s, I had my first job, and I was working for Analog Devices, and I was a technician. there, and I got sent to America for training purposes, right? Because of the machinery that I was looking after. I'd finished college, so it was probably around somewhere around the mid to late 90s, let's say. I'll just put a number.
That was a good time to be there.
Yeah, it was. It was kind of cool, actually. I met some cool people there, actually, but ironically, but I remember feeling like, oh my God, I was so fucking excited, like. Yeah. And then when I got there, I was so incredibly disappointed, it was like where I went to, first of all, probably had a lot to do with it, right? I got sent to a tiny town called Chanhassen, outside of Minneapolis-St. Paul in Minnesota, right? Mm. That was my first trip to the United States. Minnesota. Of all places, you go, people go, where? Yeah. But apparently Chanhassen's claim to fame is that Prince lived there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I ended up bumping into two of his roadies one night. We were drinking at an Applebee's. There, myself and the other guy that was sent over on the training. We bumped into these two guys that were roadies of Prince, and they were, because the jukebox was on, and Prince came on, and my buddy was mad into Prince, and I was kind of going, he's cool. I was never a follower of. I was never into. I never avidly listen. He's an awesome musician. Don't get me wrong.
Oh no, but that doesn't make you likable.
That doesn't mean you like your taste is the same, you know. And one of the lads, they were typical looking roadies, like fairly burly looking lads, black leather. He said, I take it you don't like Prince. And I said, well, it's not that I don't like him, it's just not my cup of tea, you know. And they go, cool. And then so we work for him. we're like, you're shitting me. So we end up talking about it, hanging out with a couple of Prince's roadies was mad. But that was my first experience of Shen.
But that's the kind of shit that I always imagined is very, very probable.
Yeah, but it's also kind of how cool traveling is. Like, it's brilliant, you know. But I remember thinking, like, getting to that location and kind of going, what the fuck? Like, it was utterly devoid of character. You know what I mean? Architecturally stagnant. You know, like roads. Places to walk, forget about it, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. I'm talking about really now I'm talking about the city. In rural areas, of course, you can walk and cycle all you want. You know what I mean? But we're so used to being able to kind of, if we want to, we can walk everywhere.
Just wander.
Exactly. Yeah, you could meet people walking the roads here at night with their high-vis jackets and stuff. You know what I mean? But over there, like, it just seemed to be almost forbidden. You know. That's the vibe I was getting out of it, you know. Yeah. And I didn't like it, actually. And nothing about. I didn't come home from that first experience over there going, oh wow, I can't wait to go back there. It was actually the very opposite. I was like going, right, yeah, I think I've seen enough. You know.
But I imagine. I mean, there's a lot of states, and each state is fucking huge. My attraction was always Montana for some weird reason, to do with horses. But other than that, I'm afraid of my life of horses. But I love drawing them and looking at them.
I was just going to say, you have plenty of them up there on the wall.
I figured, I went to paint a 2-year-old stallion out in Grove Stud.
Right.
My buddy works there. This thing was a fucking tiger yoke.
Yeah.
And he wanted me to walk up and touch this fucking guy.
Fuck
off.
Yeah.
And I eventually did, and it was fucking so hot. To touch.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just always fascinated with them now, and
they are beautiful animals. But I would share your kind of. I'd be sort of cautiously nervous in the presence of an animal that big. Same with cattle. You know what I mean? And I've always been an outdoorsy person, like, you know, going out fly fishing all the time, and I used to do a lot of hunting in my day and when I was younger and stuff. And yeah, you have to deal with herds of cattle all the time when you're there, but I'm always just really nervous about it. I've never gotten over, we call it a fear of them, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's the same for the cows, and it's the same for the horses. Big animals, and I'm like going,
well, if one runs, they all run, like.
Yeah, that's the problem, and they're kind of a bit unpredictable that way. You know what I mean? You're kind of
all of them.
You'd be watching them like a hawk, you know. And like years ago, I got hemmed into a bloody ditch. I was out shooting with my mate from back in my college days, right? And I was going along, and like we were kind of walking down sort of two sides of a ditch, you know, like we were walking the ditch line. He was on the one side, I was on the other, and we were going along. We're staying in line with each other, so we don't shoot each other. But we were trying to, like, if a bird came out my way, I'd shoot, and if a bird went out his way, he'd shoot.
Yeah.
And there was a herd of young bullocks or something, I suppose they were, and they were in the field I was in. And next thing they all started coming over towards me, and I said, "Oh, for God's sake, here we go!" And I started trying to shoot them. They had no interest in what I was saying, and they just kept coming, And I was like, "Oh, right, okay. Well, what am I going to do now?" So I started backing up, and I ended up. There was a little kind of a cut in the ditch, right? And they all came on me, literally, semicircle around me and pinned me into this little cutout. And there must have been about 40 of them there, like, and I was standing there like going, "What the hell? What am I supposed to do?" My mate was dying laughing because he comes from farming people, like, and I was like going, "What am I supposed to do now?" Like,
How loud was your gun?
I actually tried it. I said, "Right, sure, surely to God they'll piss off if I shoot it." Like, so I shot up into the air. They just stood there and looked at me there. And I was like going, "All right."
That wouldn't be... I wouldn't like that.
I had to climb over the ditch into his field. I couldn't get away from them. Like, they just pinned me in. Like, it was terrifying, actually.
I bet.
Yeah. Because I thought, like, are these going to keep coming? Like, you know what I mean?
When the cows have their babies.
Yeah.
And I mean, the only time I found out about this, we took the 2 boys and the 2 dogs, and we went for a walk. And on the way back, then we said we'll just go down to the old farmyard there to John Joe's place.
Yeah.
And there was lots of fucking cows there and lots of babies, and one in particular was getting really Michael Jackson on it, throwing all kinds of shapes. And I was saying, "What the fuck is with this?" I was very aware of it. Lucy was just kind of oblivious until we were coming back up.
Right, yeah.
Then it charged the fence.
Shit.
I say fence, the wire.
Yeah, yeah.
And this wire is fucking seldom on because they're in our garden more than they're not.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, like, she's looking back, and I'm like, just keep going, just fucking keep going.
Yeah.
And this fucking thing started doing this exhibition of aggression. And I was full sure this fucker's going to charge.
Yeah.
And Casper now was a fucking barrel-chested wolf of a thing.
Yeah.
And he just left out this fucking scream at this yoke, and it ran away. But I was full sure he was the heir of the day, because if that didn't happen, the thing was charged.
Yeah, but you see, like, how primal that is, that's the voice of a predator.
Yeah.
And like, no matter how big and strong the bulls and the cows and the bullocks are, they're prey. So, like, me making a big fuss trying to make with a bang out of a shotgun means nothing to them. But, like, one growl from a big dog like that, and it's like, out of here.
I was so impressed with him, because it's like he didn't even get worked up about it. You know what I mean?
He knew damn well he had the upper hand.
Oh, like, big time. He was like, "You leave me off this fucking chain and they're dead." He knew it, like, you know what I mean? I was glowing with pride looking at the dog, like, "That's my boy." So he got treats for a week after that.
Yeah.
But I didn't I was on to a buddy of mine then, Tom, the guy who works with the heart. I goes, "Tom, what's this shit about with the fucking psycho cow?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, they just had babies there, so they're just being mothers."
It's just nature, isn't it?
Yeah, well, she's a cunt. This particular cow.
Yeah.
Not impressed I was. Not at all.
I think you have to be raised around them, to be comfortable with them, to be honest with you.
But would that be the danger?
It could be, because
maybe just be confident.
I think complacency in every, like, if farming is your job, I think complacency is the real danger, because people just get so comfortable with what they do, and then they take their eye off the ball for a second before they're in the world of shit, like, you know what I mean, like.
Those big fuckers now. Even my buddy now, he'd be on to me like twice this year now. On the first occasion, a guy who works with a friend of his, good friend of his, got a kick in the fucking head, and that was that killed him. Yeah,
of course.
And then there was another guy from the same job, but they were over at the sales in England.
Yeah.
And he got a kick in the fucking head. But he's okay. He's managed to pull through it. But it's like, fucking hell, man.
Yeah. How easy it could happen, like,
I'm going to work, see you later.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
You know what I mean?
I mightn't see you.
You have to be so fucking on point with these boys.
Yeah, just that's it, like, you know.
But still, I can't take my eyes off them. Before I started finding out that you could go to an archery club and go shooting on weekends.
Yeah.
Before that, I'd be following the hunt. And I'd go to be like a field full of people getting the horses ready and the trailers and shit. I'd be going around taking photos and filming
Yeah.
and I'd try to get some sketches of anatomy and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I say I stood out like an alien, because when I'd be walking through the field, I was like, all kind of shapes, man. Because I was freaking out of my mind, sweating bullets.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you look down the field full of people getting the horses ready for anything,
there's something nice about it.
It's fucking beautiful.
There's a bit of pageantry about the whole thing.
Yeah, but it's there's a timeless quality to it. It's like you've been transported to one of those Munnings paintings, you know.
Yeah. I get it. I know exactly what you said.
It's unreal.
Yeah.
But when they start running, I'm gone.
Yeah,
just video from the van.
Is this the kind of hunt where people actually run, or is it?
No, they're on the horses.
All on horseback.
And off they go.
Because they do it running as well. They do it. I met a guy years ago. Apparently, I'm pretty sure they do it anyway, but he was telling me that they run the hunt, like.
Really?
Yeah, like over cross-country running, basically.
Well, that's just crazy. Fuck that.
I mean, I couldn't run to save my life, but like if I just found it like, well, if that's what you do of a Sunday morning, fair play to you, it's great to be that fit. You know what I mean?
No, I used to run like right up until my early 20s, I'd say.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like cross country and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But that was more about, I don't know what that was. I think it was just mental.
Yeah.
Just said, I'm going running from and off you go. But 25, maybe, no, 23. When I started smoking, when I figured my lungs are ready now.
Yeah.
Let's go. So it was everything then after that.
Yeah.
A life of absolute stupidity, debauchery and all of that jazz.
Yeah, it's colourful though, do you know?
It's, you know what, it's necessary. Because you don't want to wake up in your like 50, 60 years of age when you've done none of these things.
Yeah.
And suddenly say, I might try this.
Yeah.
And next thing you fuck everything up, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Get out of the system early.
I definitely agree with you. You do need to, acquire a certain amount of experiences in life.
Man, meet all the mad cunts you can meet.
Yeah.
Going to the zoo.
Have a few very colourful chapters, do you know, if you get it all, you know.
Trying to survive them.
Yeah, actually, trying to survive them would be a
because everything marks you, like even looking at a landscape when the light changes, that stays. Everything marks the way you think,
I
feel.
suppose, yeah. I mean, you're a day older today than you were yesterday, and surely to God, something influenced you in some way.
This year, I've done more first times when it comes to, especially we'll say the vehicle that is archery for me.
Yeah.
I've done more. I said I'm going to this. I've no business going to half the things, but fuck it, I'm going to be shit this year anyway. So I was like, but next year's my year.
Yeah.
So I want to get all the experience of being in these situations. These places.
Of course, yeah.
And even if they're going to be even if I know it's going to be shit, if I can go, I'm going. And in that respect, it's been very cool because now I've come to this conclusion. The more I think about when it comes to archery, anyway, and this will make you laugh because you're an experienced archer, and you say, "Oh, here we go, fucking knucklehead."
Let's not go too far back.
If I start thinking, I'm done. But if I just go out and enjoy it with that mentality, if I'm saying, you're good to this level, we'll say, you should be able to do okay here.
Yeah.
There's nothing here beyond you.
Of course.
If anything, you should be getting Kevin Costner shots all over the shop. And sometimes, I swear to God, it's like, if I start thinking about it, the momentum trips me up.
The psychology of archery is fascinating.
Unfucking real.
Right? And a lot of people start archery and they don't realise what they're getting themselves into.
Yeah.
And then it starts off very sort of mechanical, right? Mm-hmm. You know, it's like you go to the club, you sign up for it, you do a have a go maybe, right?
Yeah.
You try it. Oh, that's great fun. Oh, I've always wanted to do this. I saw archery in the movies. I'm going to do it, you know? And then you do a beginner's course and it goes into a few bits and bobs there and you're starting to get a feel for it, you know? Mm-hmm. And then, like you did above in the Galty range where I met you, you know, like starting off like that and then developing a little bit and then the more experienced lads and the coaches give you a few tidbits, and you're developing. You're developing. I'm fairness, I give you a fair bit.
Compounders fucking everywhere.
Yeah. But when we were shooting together regular, I give you a fair bit.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
But the thing is, like, then something starts happening, right? You start to get to a point where you're doing everything pretty well. You know, you're doing what you're supposed to do. You know, your anchor point is where it's supposed to be, and you're holding the bow the way it's supposed to be, and all this kind of stuff is going on, and you're at it maybe 6 months, maybe even a year. You know, and your bow is tuned, we hope, and all this kind of stuff. So everything seems like it should be working.
Yes.
But it isn't.
Yes.
Right? And you're like going, why isn't it working? And then you're looking at somebody else and you're kind of going, it looks like I'm doing the same as him or her, but the results aren't the same. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure I'm doing the same thing as him, but so so it's like, well, what am I missing? What's the bit that I'm missing, right? And there's a couple of things in it, right? First of all the technical stuff, like your basics of form, right? You can deep dive into every single aspect of those elements of archery form beyond what you were taught in the beginning, right? The basics, right? But there's way more subtleties in everything that takes more experience and more knowledge and stuff, and it's a little bit harder to grasp and harder to learn and integrate into your shot cycle, right? So, like, for an example, right, gripping the string. Well, you're in the beginner's course, you're taught how to grip the string, right? So you can either grip the string with the arrow here, one finger above, two under. That's your Mediterranean style release. Or you could do a 3 under, which would be
preferred.
Yeah, your preferred one. You can shoot that in the bow hunter category, and that's cool. Whatever's good for you, right?
I know that would be an issue in a category.
Yeah,
fingers thing.
But like, you kind of say, well, isn't it gripping the string just gripping the string?
Nope.
No, it isn't, because it's how you see everything you do slightly different from one shot to the next produces a massive difference downrange.
Yes.
So, like, you're kind of going like, oh my God, that arrow is like at least a foot higher than where my first arrow went. What the? Well, there's 101 reasons why that could happen. But sometimes you're not even aware that you've subconsciously changed your finger pressure. Yeah. Right? And you're like going, how would that make any difference? Like, if my finger pressure my finger pressure moved from, I was primarily, I like my first shot, I had put finger pressure on the top.
Yes.
And my second shot, I relaxed that subconsciously. I didn't really pay attention to it. Yeah. And now I might have put more finger pressure in the middle or even on the bottom. Right? Yeah. You're going to result in arrow impacts downrange higher and lower as you go through that, right? Like, you can see there, my index finger has what
like
you call
a guitar.
Yeah, there, right? So all of the finger pressure when I shoot a bow is on my top finger. When I say all, the majority of it.
I try to be this way. And my second finger feels the string. Yeah. My third finger's just kind of hanging out.
Exactly. That's exactly the way to do it, right?
And that's easy to remember.
So that's an example of deep diving beyond just, hook.
Grabbing the fucking thing.
What they call the hook, right? Yeah. You're hook the string. Okay, well, there's also where you hook the string relative to the joints in your fingers and the finger pads and stuff like that. It's 101 things, right? Right, and every other step within the shot cycle has exactly the same level of complexity in it, but it's hard to learn it because you have to do the boring work of literally standing there
for fucking the first 12 months. I shit you not.
Yeah.
I was worse than every fucking minute I had. I was watching one YouTube video or another about fucking archery. Yeah. And Jake Kaminsky broke my goddamn brain. He's like a sleeping tablet, that boy. He's got a great load of information, but he's so fucking anal. Yeah. I mean, oh.
Yeah,
I said, fuck off.
I know exactly where you're coming from, because like he likes to know, like, what screw thread has been used in a,
and did he want companies? Did he's gone off on a fucking
but to his credit, he's a highly accomplished archer. He actually does know what he's talking about. And
he just communicates
badly. But if you just follow through the videos where he breaks down the form, you know, from bit by bit, that is enough to give any archer at your level, let's say, where you're a year or two in and you're hungry for knowledge, right? You're hungry for knowledge because you want to push through this frustrating bit, right?
100%,
right? Because you see the likes of your heroes in the field archery world, right? Heroes. You know who you are.
They're so good.
But what I'm saying is, you aspire to be like these guys and girls, and which is awesome. That's what you're supposed to do. But how do you get there? How do you push through the frustration? And apart from what we were talking about, breaking down your, like, deep diving beyond the sort of the basic levels of form, archery shooting form, you have the psychology, which is actually nearly your biggest nemesis in archery. You know what I mean? Like archery is a funny sport, right? There's a heap of us do it, right? There's thousands of us at it in the country, right? And even when we go to a competition, you might say, oh, there's 15 people in my category. Oh, awesome. Well, it's going to be a really challenging category, which is the way it should be, in my opinion. 100%. But like you're saying, oh, this is great. But really, the challenge isn't really from the other 14 people in your category. The challenge is from you.
Yes.
Right? The bigger, your biggest opponent is you in that list, right?
I can't trust me at all.
But it's true, and it's the same for everyone else. So it's a kind of like, it's a very individual sport because
that's why I love it. I think.
You stand on your own. You walk up to the peg. It's you, your bow, and the target, and like nobody can help you. Like, you can be in a team, but they're not going to
shoot for you.
They're not going to shoot it for you. No. You got to do it. You know what I mean?
And I love that.
Yeah,
I love stepping up to the peg, man. And it's like. The first year, we'll say, when I started going to the competitions, because it was late in the year.
Yeah.
And I was just like shit in the bed everywhere.
Yeah.
But when I had a spell of, I could tell you what I'm going to hit, and I fucking hit it.
Yeah.
Every time. And it disappeared like overnight. Like, what happened there?
Yeah.
I was awesome yesterday.
Your mindset was probably in where it needed to be when you were shooting well, you know?
I do.
Because I'll be honest with you, your form is quite good.
Well, that's what you told me to do with that time.
So like when we shot the Bow Hunter Championships there, me, you, Mark and Doc were on the one team, right?
Good team.
Yeah, it was great fun, right? Yeah. Wasn't it? And like, one thing I always noticed about it, it's really good for an archer that's relatively inexperienced to shoot in a team or a group. It's not a team, I suppose. We're all in different categories. Or to a point. No, me, you and Mark were in the same category, weren't we? Yeah, but you're shooting in the company of archers that are going to their performance is going to boost yours, right? Because it's like the rising tide floats all boats. You know what I mean? And I've always found it hugely beneficial throughout all the years I've been in archery to be in the company of archers that are way better than me. Way better. If I'm in the company of archers that are 10 times less than me, right? Not 10 times, but you know what I mean? Yeah. Less than me, right? I probably won't shoot that well that day. Because, for example, like if I were rocked up to a category and it was like 5 people in the category, so it wasn't just a single archer in the category, and I just looked at the other 4 and I said to myself, well, you know, I know what their level is at. I could easily beat this. I'll probably shoot shit, right?
I don't see it that way.
Because I'll probably just let my
guard down.
Yeah, well, I'll just kind of go. Yeah, well, I won't make much of an effort. But if I'm in the company of guys that I really know are much better at me and they can outshoot me, I'll just somehow get a buzz off of that, and I'll start. I'll start paying more interest in making good shots.
I'll be just trying to impress upon them that I'm the real deal. I'm trying my best. And I'm doing my... so they respect that at least. You said, oh, you meant...
Yeah.
But if there's people who I know to be... Because I've been watching the scores of all the shoots, and they're scoring maybe 100 points less than me every time. I don't give a fuck. I'm out to crush.
Yeah.
I'm going to crush him.
And
if it's Mark Daly, I'm going to crush Mark. In my head, I'm like, he's getting lucky today if he gets on the podium. I'm like, I have to delude myself. Otherwise, I won't get out of the car.
Hey, my man.
I'm like, fuck it, man.
But like, yeah, that's your ambition is excellent. That's
you have
what
to
you
be, because when I was alone trying to I was looking at the 60 for weeks before I even tried it.
Right.
And I was getting awesome on the 20, 30, 40, and I was just getting somewhere with the 50.
Yeah.
So I was looking at 60s next kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm not joking, you could put a coin on any one of the butts and I would got it that particular week.
Yeah. In the zone, like, yeah.
And I was, so then I started getting to 60, and then it was like, okay, here we go. Let's go to these competitions, see what that's all about.
Yeah.
Then I shit the bed. I was like, what happened to my bow?
But like a lot of archers, and I mean a lot of archers, shoot very differently in practice than they do in competition.
To practice in competition as opposed to...
exactly, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Now, like, one thing I love about field archery is that even at the competitive level of it, right, it's relatively more fun, I suppose, than the competitive levels of world archery, which is like the Olympic route, right?
They look like they're boring as fuck, those people.
Well, that's why I shot world archery from the age of 12 up to about the age of, what was I? Late 20s, maybe.
Jeez,
pushing
that's
30.
Intense.
Right? And I used to compete, like doing the FITA competitions and the full Olympic style of archery, right, for years, and had to wear whites, very formal.
Yeah,
you had to qualify at distances. So like what back in my day we used to call it a full FITA archer was somebody that was qualified at all distances and had to wear whites. And you had to wear whites at a competition, and there wasn't much crack.
Like, I imagine, yeah.
It was bloody intense, But no, at the time I enjoyed it, or at least I thought I enjoyed it, right?
Yeah.
And I remember feeling pressure. I remember, like, my dad used to bring me to these competitions, and I used to feel kind of pressure to perform. It wasn't my dad's fault. My dad wasn't putting me under pressure, but in my head, I was putting myself under pressure, and like,
I think that's very natural, though.
Yeah, it is very natural, especially when you're young as well, right? Yeah. And I took to archery like a duck to water, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I was one of them youngsters that picked up the bow and shot the arrow in the 10, first go. No, admittedly, 5 yards away, like, but you know what I mean. But like, I got into it because my first year of secondary school, it was only 12 or something, and they took us away to an adventure centre weekend, you see.
Cool.
And I was lucky to be in a group. They had us all in different groups, but a couple of the other groups were very misbehaved, and the instructors wouldn't let them go over to the archery range because they just couldn't trust the fuckers, you know what I mean? But I was in the good group, like, do you know what I mean? I was a fucking angel anyway when I was a kid, right? But we got to have a go at the archery, and I swear to God, your man just handed me the bow and the arrow. And one of your youngsters, and he said, put this there, anchor there, aim down there, aim at that. And I went, what, like this? And I've seen it 100 times when we're doing Havagos and beginners courses. There's always some little fucker that's like was born to have a bow in their hand, right? And it happens so often. It's actually a joy to find one when you're like, you know what I mean? They're just really, really good, right? And so that's how it started. It was just as innocent as that. And I was coming home, and your man, the instructor, said to my teacher, tell his parents when he gets home, make sure you tell his parents to bring him to an archery club because it'll really suit him, And I was just like, oh, see ya, bye, like, thanks, Mr. Archery Instructor, and off we went, right? And then my dad listened to the teacher, and he said, right, okay, fair enough, this is something he'll enjoy. So he took me off. He took me off.
Golden ticket.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, took me off then to the Limerick Limerick Archers, sorry, as they were called back then. This is back in the what would I have been, 12 then, 84, right? Something like that. About 84, right? And So I joined the Limerick Archers, right, as a young fella, and Dad bought me my first bow and all the bits and bobs, and we actually, I remember, do you know that childhood memories, right, the ones that really stick out, right, the ones that you can nearly smell and taste them, you know what I mean? Yeah. Dad took me on a road trip, and I can't remember why, but we had to go to Sligo first for something anyway. There was something up the north that he needed, whatever the thing was, but he said, what we'll do then is we'll cut right across to Dublin, and I'll get you your bow, your first bow and arrow. And Jim Conroy is a well-known Irish archer, like famous Irish archer, coach, the whole lot. And he had his own archery business and equipment, and he developed his own stabilizers at the time and his own brand of it. He was a huge name. Yeah. Still is a massive name. Great guy, by the way. But I remember being brought to Jim's house by my dad. So we had this road trip, and I back to Jim's house in Dublin, and Dad, we went in, and Jim took out all the bows and the arrows. Just the smell of the feel of the new gear and opening the boxes and getting it off. And he put the whole lot together for me, for the bow and the arrows. And Dad paid him. We got into the car and back home, and I started proper then in Limerick Archers with my own gear, you know. Nice. Like that memory I'll take it to my grave. I can actually relive the weekend vividly. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It was so important to me or something, and it was such a huge thing, you know, road tripping with my dad to get my first bow.
But it makes sense when when I look at you and know you as I do, that kind of like, but of course that's how that happened. Yeah. Because you know how I got my first bow? Go on. In my childhood memory? Yeah. What's those wild garlic flowers you see down by the riverbeds?
That's probably wild garlic, is it?
It smells gorgeous.
Yeah, like
that's the smell
little
I
white,
have.
long kind of, they look like scallions, but they have a little white top.
Yeah.
That's wild garlic.
That's the smell I have with my first bow. Because the father had us down by the river. There was me, David, and I don't know, maybe Gregory was there, and a cousin maybe. And the father, he was stuck with us for a few days. Yeah. So he was telling us all about the trees, because the guy's a genius on loads of levels. Like, yeah. And he giving you all this fucking, I was like, oh, this is boring. But I love being down by the river. And next thing he fucking got, this is the one we want. And he took down this branch, man. And it was like a proper branch. And right there he takes out a knife and he starts talking about making the bow. Yeah. He skinned the whole thing except for the middle chunk. There was enough to put your hand on. Yeah. And he put all this twine around that. And he just made a bow, basically. Yeah. And this bow was the best bow I've ever shot in my life. Yeah, of course it was. It was like to the moon, you know what I mean? Yeah. So we all had a bow. And because I was always into the Native American Indian. Because he had this big leather-bound fucking book. It was a brilliant book. There was some chief on this oval kind of this dome thing on the front of it. Right. And it was basically a book, some artist, photographer guy who was in America when all the treaties by all the tribes, the surrendering and all of this shit. Yeah. There were sketches and there was paintings and there was photographs and then there was loads of writing. Which I seldom read, but I was just like fucking dripping over all the imagery. Yeah. So from then on it was like, I don't know, I love this shit. Yeah. So then we got the bows, and then it was just in my head, and then when me and Lucy got to college, that was just outside Fermoy, but it was, funnily enough, if you go outside the door, cross the road, go over the ditch, you'll go down this field, down a hill, and it'll bring you down to the river, where we got those bows that first time. Yeah. And I just started remembering all of that again. I said, I'm going to get in a bow. I started looking for clubs. Yeah. I couldn't find a club. And there was one fucking a million miles away as far as I was concerned. What age were you? This was maybe 15 years ago. Right, okay. But it was like, I'm an idiot, Dave. Yeah. And at the same time, I was stoned all the time. So all I know was I had a burning ambition to get back to this. Yeah. And, because everything was changing. My abstracts were becoming more to do with the horse, and because I watched the documentary after my gran passed away. I just found this documentary by chance just to distract myself while Lucy was building a website for me, and I was just watching this 2 hour long about the Mustangs in America, and then I've this fucking archery thing whispering in my head, and then I'm like and so she got me a bow because she had to get measured for it and all that, and it came along, and the dogs we had at the time, pups, they made shit of this 3-piece couch thing we had. Right, yeah. I mean, they made shit of it. Yeah. So I dragged it out the back. There was like maybe half an acre.
Yeah.
So I dragged it to the end of that, and I stacked them up, and I just wrapped them with shit.
Yeah.
I said, I'm going to shoot that now until the cows come home.
Yeah, exactly.
But I had no guard.
Yeah.
I know nothing.
Yeah.
So after the first while,
Yeah.
ouch.
Yeah, I can imagine.
She was the same.
Yeah.
So we got the guards then,
Yeah.
and then we haven't a clue what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're just going on instinct.
Yeah.
And we'd be out there for hours, dude.
Yeah.
Just hours.
Yeah.
And then the kids came along and the boys got put away. But it was by chance again. We were at the Cork Summer Show?
Yeah.
And there was a have a go for it must have been the Cork City Club.
Would have been, yeah.
And David was there with his missus at the time, so I was like, fuck, they have a thing.
Yeah.
The kids, I think Junior had a fucking meltdown, so we
Yeah.
were stuck with him. So David went and checked it out, and he's like, we should get into that because I'd love that.
Yeah.
And then he was off somewhere else, and he found out about Galty.
Right, yeah,
So
yeah.
then he's like, do you want to go to this Galty thing
Yeah.
and check it out? So
Yeah.
that's where we went. But then I had issues, of course, straight away, because I was like, this is too slow. I need to be doing stuff. Why can't I not sign up and sign in and da-da-da-da?
Yeah.
Well, you have to do this, and you have to... All the normal
I know
stuff.
the red tape, like,
You know, and I
skip
was
the red
like,
tape.
Why is it taking so long? Well, we have to wait for numbers. Fuck them. I'm here now. Let me do the fuck. I was just fucking...
Yeah.
And I remember Phelan was there one night, because I didn't know him from Adam, but I must admit, though, he had the Garda vibe off him straight off the bat. There's no putting him under cover, you know what I mean? But I was drawn to his bow. He had the coolest fucking... My bow I loved.
Yeah.
But his bow was cool. And I remember saying, that's a nice fucking bow.
Yeah,
I think he said it was a 50-pound bow at the time.
Yeah, Phelan used to always have pretty high poundage on his.
Yeah, and I was like, phew.
I think he's gotten sense in recent years, but yeah.
I think 32 to 34, I'm very good there.
But you
I'm
don't.
very happy there.
It's a kind of a case of you don't need any more.
No,
right?
I mean, I've
You
come
know.
down.
Yeah, you're right.
My
you're
first bow was 44 or something like that.
Yeah, that's way too much. Like
It was because something went there. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But the 34 I think I have now is, I love it.
Yeah.
It's just so comfortable, and I can get a longer day out of it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly,
And I don't
yeah,
have as much hassle.
Yeah.
But so Phelan was talking, and it was just one of those nights where it was just nothing was going right for me.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And I'm not used to hanging out with people, so I was like, "Can't fuck." And I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Who's your man?
The films are like, "Is everything all right?"
Yeah.
Because I don't. This is fine. He's laughing.
Yeah.
He goes, well, that's Archie for you. It took me years to get where I am now. I'm looking at him, and I'm like, I don't have that time. Fuck that. This time next year, I better be competing. The year after that,
I'm in the Olympics.
I was going to the Olympics. I did a fucking podcast about it. I was like, I'm so going to the Olympics.
Yeah.
I'd be going over there like a psycho.
Yeah.
Don't talk to none of these fuckers now.
Yeah.
Just fucking,
Yeah.
you're there to
Yeah.
work. And I'd be fucking like a psycho.
Yeah,
just
yeah,
talk to nobody.
exactly, yeah.
And then like maybe the last half an hour I'd be wrecked.
Yeah.
Because you're just burnt out, and the hours are starting to, the grouping is just dissipating. So I said, I'm going to start talking to these crackers and see what the fuck. And then I find them having to laugh.
Yeah.
And then it's like, then the Olympics is just like, I'll be there as a spectator.
Yeah.
It's about the size of it. But then I got really good again.
Yeah.
And then it's like you go into these plateaus, and then it's like, that's where you have to stay for a while.
Yes.
And then you're knocking on the ceiling because you're
Yeah.
shit now again.
Yeah.
But you're not shit. If you measured, I started photographing my targets and I'd make a little thing, and I'm like, is that better than the last time?
Yeah.
I got fucking psycho. Like,
All right. Yeah.
now I'm
yeah.
like, fuck it. If it works, it works. All I'm thinking about now is my form. Work on my form, and the targets will take care of themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Because in my
yeah,
head, it's like, field archery is where it's at for me.
Yeah,
I want to
yeah.
be there, and I have a good chance of hitting the fucking animal.
Yeah.
I mightn't get the eggs.
Well, like what you're suggesting there, like working on your farm and the targets will take care of themselves. You're not wrong, because like in the early days, it's very easy to confuse archery as an aiming sport.
Yeah.
Right, and it isn't.
Nope.
Like, anyone that doesn't do archery is going to go, what? What are you talking about?
The last second of the fucking the whole thing.
Yeah, surely to God you aim. Yeah, we do aim. Of course we aim. Like,
It's,
obviously.
It's like...
But But it's not the focal point of archery.
Fuck no.
It's in actual fact, what you need to do is make it the very, very, very least amount of your, like the psychology we were talking about a bit earlier, right? So let's just call it mental focus or mental energy. Where do you put your mental energy into the shot, right? Or where do you put your focus, right?
Yeah.
When it gets to the point where you aim, whatever way you choose to aim, and even if you're instinctive, right? You know, there's a kind of a instinctive archers will say, I don't aim. Okay, right. Well, something is doing the aiming.
Of course they aim.
you mightn't be doing the aiming as such. In other words, if you're an instinctive archer and you're looking at the target with just as you do, you look at it and you just focus on it, and then you make your shot and let instinct handle the geometry and the mathematics of it, exactly, right? Yeah. Within all of that subconscious or routine of your thing, an aim has happened, right? Somewhere. You mightn't have deliberately done it, but an aim has happened. But that's not to say it's an aiming sport. So, like, if you take the analogy of an instinctive archer making the shot without technically aiming, if you go to the other extreme of it, where if you see me shooting an Olympic or a freestyle recurve, right, with the sight, the clicker, and all that jazz and all that other stuff going on, right, of course there's aiming happening, right, but it's where you're putting it. It's how much focus you're willing to put into it, or not so much willing to put into it, or willing to leave out of the aim. Because there's a dark path in archery aiming, right, which leads to target panic, right? And if you need to get to the point in your shot, and it's typically after you've done your anchor point, right? Anchor has to happen first before you aim. You can't aim unless you've got the anchor point.
Aim is really the last stop for me.
But the aim needs to be like a very small percentage of your mental focus. If you're a bow hunter and you're a gap shooter or whatever, and you want to put the point of your arrow on something, like whatever you think your gap is, and you pick out a little broken twig in the ground and you say, I need to be gapping around there to hit my target, right? So you will deliberately put the point of your arrow on that little feature that you've picked out for your gap, and that's fine. That's the aim. But you do not focus on it and dwell on it,
Jesus,
right?
No. You will fuck it up.
You will. The second you do that, you will fuck everything else up after. You'll fuck up the release. You'll fuck up everything, and the next thing the arrow won't hit what you're doing, or you'll chuck the arrow left or right or whatever. So you need to get past the aim. You need to get to the aim, get it done, like quick and fast, right? Get it done. And move the fuck on very quickly, right?
Get momentum going, like.
Yeah, exactly. So you're right, because you make the aim briefly, and then you hold it there. You let your form hold it there, right? So I
don't like to hold it too long, though.
Yeah, no, there's a timing and a rhythm to an archery shot as well, and holding too long is as bad as not holding long enough, right? So there's a sweet spot in how long you take to execute the shot, right? It's much more easy. It's a difficult thing to learn, but it's much more easy to remain repeatable from shot to shot with an Olympic recurve when you're trained on the clicker, because the rhythm of the shot from when you start to right through to the finish and the follow through, if you're practiced enough and trained well enough on it and you've developed that rhythm, will be very, very similar from shot to shot. Like if it takes you 2.5, 3 seconds, let's say if it takes you 3 seconds for argument's sake to go from the point where you knock the arrow and get through the shot and the arrow breaks, it'll be pretty much 3 seconds every time.
Yeah.
There's a kind of a cycle or a rhythm to it. Do you know what I mean? And if it goes like I would, and I'm not the best practitioner of it, but you'll so often see me having to come down when I'm shooting a freestyle recurve. I'll have to come down because it won't matter how hard I pull and pulling is the wrong word, by the way, but I'm just using it for just to keep things straightforward. But it won't matter how long I stay at full draw or how much more effort I put in to getting the arrow to come through the clicker. It's not going to happen, and there's reasons why it's not going to happen. So I come down and I try again. I reset the shot and start again. That kind of stuff.
Once you start adding bits onto the bow, I'm dialed out.
Yeah, exactly.
I want as little on the fucking bow as I can get.
And you're not wrong, because this is one of the things that I loved about discovering field archery after spending so many times.
Yeah,
so much time aspiring. When I was a kid, I genuinely aspired to be in the Olympics, right? And I was very.
I just wanted to be in India.
Yeah, but exactly. Yeah, but I could have had in theory, I could have had the real opportunity to achieve that goal if things had been different, let's say.
Yeah.
So here you are, a 12-year-old in the 1980s with all his life ahead of himself and a skill or a talent for archery, right? Great. And then in the early years, I developed so quickly, so fast. I was very lucky. I had good coaches, you know what I mean? Yeah, and I also had a role model who was Mary Vaughan, who shot in the Los Angeles Olympics for Ireland. Oh. So she was in our club, and that was I think that was 1984. Los Angeles was
some influence.
Yeah, so I was like. There wouldn't have been too many youngsters in archery would have had that exposure, right, and that role model, and being able to witness somebody with like she placed in the top 40 in the Olympics, which isn't
from Ireland. That's a huge.
Do you know what I'm saying? It just puts it in perspective just how good she was back then, right, in those days, right, when we were shit, right, at every fucking thing. Do you know what I mean?
The tip of the spear.
She herself and another woman called Helen Green shot in that Olympics that year, representing Ireland, and they were the cream of Irish archers at the time. And Helen did very well. I think she definitely placed upwards in the top 30. Do you know what I mean? And so we had two awesome archers that didn't come back bottom of the fucking field and disgrace the country. But you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? They were and I was a child looking at them shooting, going, "Oh my God, I could be an Olympian."
There's a pathway.
So me thinking that I could be Olympian was not a foolish notion. There was somebody in the club and a grown adult achieving that goal already, and I was looking at him going, "I want to be just like her." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I remember getting my shot at the Olympic, or not the Olympic, but the European team to shoot in the European Championships.
Right.
And we did tryouts, we all went up and shot in Dublin. And I think the night before I shot my personal best on the indoor round. I shot something like 500 and this would be bad by modern standards, but good by our standards back then.
Yeah.
So the maximum I think in the round is, I think it's 600 or is it 720 or something like that. I can't remember now. It's so long ago. But anyway, you shoot the indoor round. But I was shooting at around the 520 points level, right? Which was any archer that go, even nowadays, right? If you're training archers in your clubs and stuff, and they're following the World Archery path, once they start shooting 500 plus indoors, you've got an archer that has a skill level that is, I would say, above your intermediate. It's a skill level that's now nurturable to a very, very high level, because it's not easy to get to that level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to be a little bit more focused and practice, and you've got to pay attention to get to those kind of scores. They're not great scores by modern standards, but for a youngster.
Sure, looking at the scores, is it the mailing? The mailing competition?
Oh, the mail match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The mailing.
Yeah.
But I'll be looking at some of the scores there, and even when I'm even when I'm shit, and I'm thinking, well, at the moment I'm shit, but I'm very confident that I'm going to be thereabouts in this number.
Yeah.
And I'm looking, I goes, it's not that fucking great.
Yeah.
It really isn't. Yeah. And I was expecting to be intimidated.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, Mark Daly's not here, that's why it's shit.
Yeah, but
there was one other guy, an Irish guy, and there was a guy, maybe an Australian guy and an American guy. that they were good, but they weren't fucking spectacular. I was just thinking, well, how long are you at it, lads?
But you also have to remember who's entering the male match. Like the
I'm definitely entering it.
Yeah, but I have failed to complete the three rounds of the male match. I think I've tried the last 2 or 3 years to compete in the male match, and I have always failed to get the 3 rounds done. Do you know, I might get one of the rounds done one year, I might get 2 of them done the next year, but I always fail to get all 3.
I think there's a bit more kind of scope on that to make it. You have a month to do one.
Yeah, I suppose.
You can find a club that'll accommodate.
Yeah, and but it's your personal time too, though, James, as well. You know, you've got to. You're like, you start out with the best of notions. You know, I'll definitely get the 3 of them done this winter, and you're like, fuck that. You know,
I'm getting it done.
Yeah.
I told Lucy, don't be fucking annoying me now. I'll show you the calendar. You tell me what you think you'd like to do, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do, because I'm going to be a champion. This is my 3rd year. That was my plan.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be a champion.
Yeah, exactly.
And she's looking at me
go for it.
But it's going to happen.
But what I'm saying is, like, the male match, it probably doesn't draw the elite archers of the world into
I know.
it. It's a bit of fun, right?
Well, it's perfectly timed for the indoor championship.
Exactly, yeah. And
so
it's
training
and using it that way is absolutely the best way to do it. It puts a bit of focus at club level to say, let's shoot the male match. It's a bit of fun, but it'll get us into the mindset of indoor archery for when we run the indoor championship. Like, I love the fact that IFAF have split up the championships between the 3 disciplines, right? I absolutely love it. I think it's one of the best things that's happened to field archery in this country, right?
Right.
Because those 3 disciplines are chalk and fucking cheese, right? They're completely different to one another, right? And one of the things that I think it's really good for an archer. Say your passion is 3Ds. Most of us prefer the 3Ds.
Oh, yeah.
We love them, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to go out to the forest and shoot the 3Ds,
100%.
right? That's what we're all here to do.
But unfortunately, we live in Ireland, so a few months of the year.
Exactly. So like, but what I just speaking purely from somebody that loves all aspects of the sport, and I like coaching.
Yeah.
I really enjoy coaching, right? And if you're shooting 3Ds, right, and you could be great at it, right, and then you walk in and you shoot indoors, and you suddenly realise that you're really fucking shit at it, right? Right, and this happened. Like, a lot of us experience this with the first times that you start shooting at a small round circle that's only 20 yards away. And one of the things I've said before is like I'll just use this as an example here, right? So like if that's the spot, right? So like you shoot 3Ds, right? And you know the format of it, right?
Yeah.
So like if I hit the mark, let's say, I can get 20 points, right? No, it'll be bigger than that on a let's say that might be as big as you need to hit on a group 4, let's say, to get a kill, we'll call it. That's a group 4, right? Kill. Great, lovely. I could get 20 points by hitting that kill with my first arrow, but I could get 18 points if I hit the animal anywhere else, right? So the animal could be this big, right? Yeah. And I'll still get 18 points for hitting the animal anywhere else.
Yeah.
Right? But objectively you could say, well, was that a good shot now or a bad shot? Like, I hit it, but I didn't hit what I was hoping to hit, but I still hit it, and I got 18 points for my one arrow, right? Mm-hmm. Now take the discipline of indoors, right? Where the spot's about that big, it's, right?
But then you come into the compound mentality.
No, it's not.
Even with
you're aiming for. It's not really the same,
if I
James.
don't get an X, I'm fucked.
No. Well, at that level in compound shooting, it is about X's. But what I'm saying is, right. So you have to now in the indoor format. You now have to. You get 5 shots per round, right? Per end, we'll call it, right? Per end, right? Whereas in the 3Ds. Let's say if it's a UAR and it's a group 1 or a group 2 or whatever, you have you have your walk-ups, you have your first arrow, second arrow, whatever, third arrow, whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? So you're getting penalised as you go. Right, yeah. So, but in the indoor one, it's only 20 yards, but it's asking you to basically, in essence, hit the spot 5 times.
Oh, yeah.
To get your maximum points. So let's just call about it. Maximum points on target 1 shooting a UAR is 20 points, right? And great if you hit it the first time, 20 points. If you hit it anywhere else, you'll still get 18 points. In the indoors, your first arrow, if it hits anywhere else, you have a 5, a 4, a 3, a 2, and a 1 on the circle. And if it doesn't hit the 5, you get a 4 or a 3 or a 2.
Yeah.
Right? So you're nowhere near maximum points. Do you know what I'm saying?
I do.
It's 20 points, 18 over here on the 3Ds, and it's like you need to hit this 5 times in a row.
That's the goal, obviously.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you go in there and that's all you get, if you don't get it, you get nothing.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, well, fuck you and your competition. I'm going to the woods.
So that's what I'm getting at, is that, like, why it's so good for you as an archer to shoot the 3 different disciplines.
Oh, yeah.
Is that, like, put it this way, like, I always used to say that the indoor range is the best classroom. That's where you learn archery's form, like the technical form.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So say like as I did when I was a kid, like you just learn it by standing in the indoor range, and you learn. Admittedly, it was all just the Olympic style of recurve archery, and that's fair enough. That back in the day, that's the only thing I knew existed, and I didn't know anything about 3Ds and field archery and all that other stuff. If I had, I would have loved it. By the way, I would have absolutely loved it, but I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know at the time, and so anyway. But like, so I'm just talking about it from the classroom point of view, learning that discipline, right?
Yeah.
Standing at a target face at 20 yards away, trying to hit a little dot. Like on little roundy targets, and trying to keep your arrows consistent into the middle. Yeah, stay focused, because focus is huge in competition.
It's a long day,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So and then it's really good for you to develop that level of form and focus and consistency, and then apply it to other types of archery, like 3D archery or field and hunter or whatever you're doing yourself. And like. But that indoor classroom is awesome for your archery. And if you've done the 3Ds only for years and years and years, and then like a lot of us found out, like, pretty rude awakening when we started shooting at the indoors, it's like, oh my God, I'm not doing very well at this.
It's a different beast.
Because it's a different beast.
The papers are very unforgiving.
Yeah, they are. They're very unforgiving.
You have to be fucking tuned into
that. Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I mean, talk about the mental aspect of the game. That's really to the fore.
Exactly, indoors, like. But this is why it's good for us, all of us.
I think there should be more fucking indoors. You know what I mean? Because I found when we went to UKIFAC, I felt that maybe it showed up there that, lads, you need to get a bit more of the indoor thing going on. Yeah. Because there was a lot of paper faces there, and again, very unforgiving.
Yeah. And the field and hunter is even a little bit more of a good analogy between the 3Ds and the roundies, the targets, like, is because like your maximum points available to you in any given peg or any given target in field and hunter is still 20. Yeah. And in the UARs, the maximum points that you can get out any single 3D target is 20. So it's 20 for 20. It's like for like. Yeah. The difference in the field and hunter is you need to shoot 4 arrows into the 5 spot to get your 20 points. Yeah. Right? You shoot a good shot on the 3Ds, great stuff, you get it in the kill. 1 arrow will do you to get you your 20 points. It's not that easy, by the way. Obviously, it's not easy to shoot a kill. But in field and hunter, you don't get 18 points just because you missed the 5 spot and got somewhere else on the roundy. Like, do you know what I mean? No. You have to work for every fucking point. Like,
but like what you were saying, to have the 3 of them there now is super.
It's great. It's really good.
Because imagine if that's all you know. This is the regiment that you will follow if you're into archery, in the field or whatever. And you're exposed to all of these once you start going competing. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Plus, it gives us all three opportunities to go away for the weekend and have the crack.
100%.
Let's be honest about it.
I'm waiting for the folder, or the folder in my phone. Yeah. I'm waiting for the the calendar now to be established.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I'm like, I'm like a kid at Christmas. I'm just like, I gotta fucking get, because I go, when is that? How close is that to this? And blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you know, because I've been saying it all this year, because at the start of the year I had a few issues with the bow, which I think is just my issues in my head. But anyway, I was saying, I think I had one bad fucking competition down in Wexford.
Right, yeah.
In January, I think.
Right, yeah.
And I was like a goddamn lunatic after. For a week, I was fucking berating myself.
Yeah.
The way I spoke to me for that week, and it was like every hour, on the hour, you useless cunt. What the fuck? I was going crazy.
Jesus, yeah.
Dude, I was fucking dark. But I was like, come on, you deserve it.
Yeah.
And then I was kind of, I think I was in here and I was like trying to get out of a bad mood.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Like, snap out of it, you cunt. And next thing I started laughing at myself hysterically, and I goes, you stupid cunt. It's a game.
Yeah.
Life is a game. You're a dreamer in a dream.
Yeah.
So dream a good dream.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you doing?
You're
going away, you're meeting some fucking cool people, having a cool laugh, and you're being all like fucking, grow up.
We're taking it way too seriously.
Grow the fuck up and be awesome.
But you see, even the most experienced archers, and this is just archery, but it's also everything in life. You'll have your bad days guaranteed, and it doesn't matter how good you are or how experienced you are in any sport or activity. You're going to have a bad day at work. You're going to have a bad day at home. You're going to have a bad day out on the range. You're going to have, you know what I mean? You just need to accept that.
You
shit
have a
when
quota in a 12-month course, and that's today.
Like if I look back on, let's say, my personal bests, right? And I can remember shooting the course, and it just worked that day.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I think I might have said it to you before, but like I have a terrible job ranging. Like,
I'm the same.
Like I really struggle, like proper struggle with ranging. You know, like I can be so far out. And my basic ability to shoot the bow is good, right? The basic form is good, right? So there's no reason I should miss other than
overshooting
and undershooting. And if you shoot with me on a thing, you'll keep seeing my arrows. The line will be lovely, right?
Yeah.
And the arrow will be like 6 inches in the grass underneath the animal, or 6 inches over his back in the fucking backstop. Right down the middle, like, and even going back far, I keep the arrows nice and straight, the whole lot. So it drives me fucking cracked, because I'm kind of going, oh my god, I'm actually shooting those arrows really well, but I can't hit the damn thing because I simply cannot get my head around the range. But on the days that I've shot my personal best, right, like done really, really well, I for some reason that day, the two came together for me. Do you know what I mean?
You probably weren't thinking about it.
But I was just in the right humour, or the right mode, or whatever it is. And I remember going up to target one, and I said to myself, I'd bet money that's 27 yards. I wasn't even going 25 to 30, give or take a bit. Like, you know, I'd say, well, maybe I'll just shoot it at 25. Maybe I'll shoot it at 30. I was kind of going, no, I reckon there's 25, and that's about 2 more yards. You know, and at the time, like the very best I ever shot in a UAR, I shot with, admittedly, a freestyle recurve. But the problem with that is, if you don't get your range right and you set the sight to the wrong number, you're gonna miss, right?
Yeah.
So you're very committed with a sight to a specific distance, right? And I shot a really great round with it, and I was even surprised. I said, how the hell did I do that? Like, it was fucking definitely my personal best. I think I was like 2 points away from breaking the 500, and that was the little goal of mine. I've still yet to do it, but I was like, fuck, I was that fucking close. I couldn't believe it, right? But just that day, it worked in my head for some reason. And I've never been able to do it again since, you know. But when I shoot the bow hunter in the 3Ds, I much more enjoy it. I shoot way less points, but I really enjoy it, because I think, like you said earlier on, it's simple, it's more fun, it's less intense in the brain. And to me, it feels more like hunting than dragging around.
Well, the way I'm looking at it this year, I know a lot of what I'm doing this year is based off of my experience. I would say the the second half of the first year is when I started the competitions. And now but I can only go with what I know.
Yeah.
And what I'm trying to do this year is not be so concerned even with the distances.
Yeah.
You know, I'll be like, what group is this? That means it's somewhere there. Because I'm like, wait a minute. These cute whores will either max it or fucking bring it. So that's not really that fucking great to me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm trying not to even look at that.
Yeah.
I just want to look at the target, and if I'm first to it, I'm just going to act immediately and fucking react to the vision.
See what happens, yeah.
And if I'm not first, I'm going to watch how the others do what they do, but I'm not going to listen to what they're saying, what they're thinking. Just, you know, basically I'm looking for the rise and fall of their arrow.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, fuck, but then I have to factor in their height, so I had to dismiss that.
Yeah.
So now it's just basically react to the visual.
Yeah,
it's a visual thing.
It's interesting because a few weeks back I was shooting around up above in the Limerick Club. I'm in the Limerick Club as well, but the lads were saying we were just shooting together Sunday morning, club shooting, you know, and we were going around and I was actually talking about that can't figure out the distance shit, you know, and we were saying Jonathan and I was shooting with Jonathan above in the Limerick Field Archery Club, and he said, sure, why don't we just shoot without, forget the gaps, because he's a gap shooter as well.
Yeah.
So forget the gaps. I said,
you can't just switch it off though.
No, you can't switch it off, but I started doing it. I just said, just for shits and giggles, to see how would I do any better by literally just, like you said, just visualize it, walk up to the peg, take one look at it, stick the arrow in the thing and just fucking shoot and see what happens, right? Well, fuck me, did I start hitting the targets then? But like, I wasn't hitting everyone, obviously, but I started hitting them without even trying to apply a gap or a distance. I just said, right, I'm just going to look at it and let fly and see what happens. You know what I mean? And it actually genuinely surprised me how many of them I hit.
I think
right?
so. I'm the same.
No, look, we all know that that's essentially instinctive archery, right?
But there's an element of gapping, but it's instinctual.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And what is it? Instinctual on subconscious level is gapping.
Yeah, so like if you like we all know that if you do something often enough, it's going to get programmed into your brain,
exactly.
Right? And it's like instrument playing, right? You at a certain point, somehow or other, your fingers know what to do, and you're kind of along for the ride.
You don't even
do you know what I mean? You're kind of going like, it was like, oh jeez, that's great. How'd you learn that? I was like, I don't know. I don't know. It happened years ago, and now they just do that thing now.
Yeah. That's why I'm big into trying to get to as many. This is the whole fucking master plan again that I'm trying to explain to Lucy to justify my absence on the weekends. So listen, this is how I know me.
Yeah.
How I work is this way. Because when people start telling me how to do it, like, you know, you'd meet them and she'd say, oh, you should do this. And fuck off.
Yeah.
In my mind, I'm like, fuck off. There's a few, obviously, that I listen to, but mainly they're like, fuck off.
Yeah.
I'm better than you. You just don't know it yet. That kind of thing. I firmly believe it. I mean, Mark Daly thinks I'm cracked, but I'm telling everything I say, I fucking believe it. And I believe it for a reason.
You're manifesting your own success.
I'm absolutely manifesting it. But only because it's like I'm not going to go and talk to just any girl.
Yeah.
I'll talk to the girl who I caught looking at me with a particular expression on her face. There's an interest. So I'm not wasting my time. Instead of going over and being a fucking idiot to all these hours.
I know,
you know what I mean? So there is an initiation recognized elsewhere. Either by my actions or my reactions, and I'm aware to it. Like, tread. Pull the thread, and I'm pulling the thread, and I'm working it, and I'm fucking cutting out the noise. I mean, someone asked me, "What's your best score?" And I'm like, "I haven't got it yet." I'm not even going to entertain the conversation.
Come back. That's a great answer. I haven't got it yet.
I haven't got it yet.
Yeah, that's a brilliant answer.
Again, that's why they think I'm the crazy person. No, but it's like I'm absolutely convinced. You cannot tell me, like, even you, yourself, McSary, Mark Daly. And if if we're out drinking, the tree said, look, we were talking, and well, we've come to a decision. The three of us believed maybe it's not for you. I turn around and I'd say, you're fucking deluded. End of. And I'm gone. I'll beat you all in eventually. And I'm there, what were you saying? You cunt. And I don't, Because in my head, you cannot tell me. I've committed to this way back when, before I had a ball. I know it was it was being nurtured. I did paintings of the fuckers. Like, it's there. It's in me. Course, and I was wasting time up until now. That's why I'm so eager and so anxious. So it's like, I can't be going to a range. I'd be bored out of my mind. I've got what I need from a range. I'm already past that now. And where I get it now is like different woods. Because people are setting out the same distances differently. And I want to see that.
There's an art form to setting out the targets in woods. And like using the lay of the land to maximum advantage is incredible. Like some of the shot setups that I've come across over the years, like I just have to ask, I don't think I'd have the creativity in my head to do it, but like they can create almost like an optical illusion, you know? And you're standing there going, it's a good 45 yards. And the fella that set out the course is probably thinking to himself, nowhere near it, buddy.
Wexford, I find, is the worst. Or the best, whichever way you want to look at it. But it was like, there's a voodoo vibe in that fucking wood. Every time I'm like, huh? What the fuck?
Is that moving?
I'd be like, I usually get low on the leg with this kind of, so I'm going to go an extra bit higher here. And I'm fucking short. What the fuck? So for me, it's like, I laugh at that. Because you have to. Because it's like,
but like the famous cliff shot in Dunbrody, it's like the very first time you looked at that, what distance did you think those targets were?
I didn't enter my mind.
Oh, you didn't even...
It's just better hit it.
But like you could be forgiven for thinking that they're a very, very, very long way away.
Big time. I did think that.
You're on a very high ledge looking down at a savage angle. I don't know, it's a 20, 30 degree angle or whatever. You're looking straight down through a gap in the trees at a small clearing. And the first time you look at that, you'd be really forgiven for thinking that was miles away. Like fucking even... You know, like will my bow even reach it? You know, kind of stuff, right? You know what I mean? Because your perspective, I suppose, is what I'm saying. Is that you're up so high? They look like they're tiny and miles away. They're not. They're about 35 fucking yards away. Like,
and they're
do you know
big
what I mean?
Fucking targets.
Yeah.
The one now, the last time there was 3 dares.
Yeah.
And I got 2 out of 3.
Oh, well done. Nice one.
Because I glanced the fucking branch onto the third one.
Yeah,
but the first one I got in between the eyes. The second one I got in the gut. And the third one just went bye-bye. But, you know, it was just... I was just stoked I got the first 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Because in my head, in Limerick prior to that, there was a lot of ups and downs. And brother was in my ear. Well, no, if you're going... I don't know what way he was saying it. Either you aim short of the target if it's high and over if it's low or some shit. And I'm like, blah, blah, blah. I had to shake that out of my head. I'm back to just reacting. Because when I applied that in Limerick, I fucking hit nothing. I was so dizzy. This actually happened. I came upon a shot. I think it was a 20 yarder probably. And it was a monkey. Okay. A monkey sitting upright. Now what I saw, Dave, was a monkey sitting on the shoulders of a monkey. Okay. And I was thinking, that's a fucking interesting one. So I said, I'm going to aim for the monkey's belly here in order to get the monkey here.
Right, okay.
That's what I was thinking.
So you had visualised one monkey on top of the other? You actually thought you saw?
I'm looking at these 2 monkeys. One, that's the target. One monkey is stuck to another monkey.
Right,
So I'm thinking, that's cool, that's handy. Now I can just aim for his belly and I'll definitely get the top guy.
Right,
And it happened.
Right.
First arrow, happy days. Then we went to retrieve the arrows. There's only one monkey.
Right. So where did you come up with the second one in your head?
I have no fucking clue. My head was wrecked from the up and the fucking down and all the mental fucking trampolines going off in my head. So I was like, enough is enough. I'm just going to go my own way, burn my own path. And by hook or by crook, I will get to where I need to get. I just got to be patient. I'm not great at that. A lot of people think because you're a stonemason and you do paintings that you must have the patience with saying, I'm like, fuck off. I'm like a demented lunatic. Fuck. I was busting stone there today and it just fucking limestone and it just fucking bang right into my fucking... And I'm like, that stone was no more good, I can tell you. I smashed the fuck out of it. And if you saw me assault this stone, you'd think, run.
That's what I'm. But maybe because you vent it all with the stonemasonry, it gives you the peace and calmness to produce paintings.
No, I beat the shit out of my canvases.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a noise coming off. My brushes don't last, and I get big wide brushes for the big canvas.
Yeah.
And even the knife, when I started using the knife, I literally...
You cut holes in the damn thing, did you?
A big arc. Big flappy fucking things like, fuck. I couldn't use it anymore. So I had to... I was very heavy-handed because... Not heavy-handed, that's probably the wrong word. But it's like the speed at which I'll attack it.
Yeah.
And just trying to get fucking these effects and touches.
Yeah.
I just feel I have to go to town on this fucking canvas. And I have to have a run and jump at it, you know what I mean? And it's the same with the stone to a degree. But the stone doesn't... When I come home most of the time, I'm thinking I should do some fucking weight training now. And I was saying to Keith, because Keith does a lot of stonework as well. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Keith lives
he does paving and all
pavings,
that.
paving.
Stonework the odd time. But he was like, you've no business doing fucking weight training after a day smashing stone and lifting stone and all. But for me, I'm so... The energy of that...
Yeah.
See, I have this thing where you can nearly put a colour to an energy. And the energy of aggression is required to be creative.
Yeah.
And it doesn't fuck off when you get in the van. It's like... It's just intensifying on your way home. So you get in the door, hey daddy, kick him in the head, fuck off. But it's like, you gotta go in and it can pick the colour for you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Sometimes you gotta drive the car. You can't let the car drive you. But at the same time, it takes you a while. If you're gonna just forget all the pretty picture bullshit that passes for art, and if you want to just say, what am I doing at this age? Victory used to be for me that I'm still painting. That used to be my victory for myself. But now the victory is like, you gotta, why are you doing it? And you have to basically imagine, if you will, a wizard. And he just fucking brings up this fucking energy, if you want, and he's fucking nursing it, and he's nursing it, and then he just fucks it at a canvas. And voila. That's kind of what you're doing in a way. You've had a dream from the dream world, the spirit world, and you're the bridge to this essence of this reality that can be planted in this reality in a visual capacity to... I think I have this theory that if it's that true, if it's that honest, you don't have to know what the fuck it is. You just catch it. And you do it as quickly as you can with as much fucking energy. And if you're true to that and just serve that.
Is that just like pure inspiration? Is it?
Absolutely. You are the inspiration. But if you're just true to that and you just paint an honest fucking canvas and you're like, I don't know what that is. The viewer, on the other hand, it's in my mind, it's got its own destiny now. Where it ends up, who knows? Who sees it, on the other hand? When people will look at a painting, then it's like, because it's not of your entire, it's not your fucking intellect per se. It's more your ability to be a conduit. The honesty of the thing is universal, and it'll affect every viewer on a subconscious level in their own unique way.
Of course.
So it's not to do with, is it pretty, is it this, is it historically, blah blah blah, because them cunts know nothing anyway, as far as I'm concerned. This is just like a fucking mass in a sense, you know what I mean? So that's kind of symbology comes into play, I suppose. The movement of a fucking horse is the most, like, the horses that they have doing the fucking dressage stuff, and even when they're training the horses, the race horses to jump, when they're just being fucking brought around like this, if you were to take the time and just fucking get lost in watching that and just focus on the horse, I mean, you will be anyway. Like
I suppose the way a horse's physical is near physical perfection, like in terms of like an animal that is capable of moving that way at such a speed as well. Like it's like as if they carve through over ground and through air as effortlessly as a shark carves through water.
Exactly,
Do you know what I mean?
Like, can you imagine if you're watching a horse, say it be in the training
Yeah.
yard. And if you can just say, right, I give colour to fucking air.
Yeah.
So there's a light yellow.
Yeah.
And you see the way the horse then is moving through that and
Yeah.
the effect
Yeah.
in the yellow.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a painting there.
Yeah,
Right, straight away, you know?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So
yeah.
these are the things. But I got so caught up then in the anatomy of the horse.
Yeah. Yeah, I
I
know.
was like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
5 years and you're what? You've done nothing? You're just doing sketches? You fucking idiot.
There's a masterpiece in there eventually.
So then you shit your brains out and it's like, fuck. So it is, I suppose it's not, but people might say again, that's patience. To do 5 years of this and you're like, no, that's being stupid. That's listening to the ego. And forgetting the job in the first place.
Yeah.
But the one thing I have going for me is I'm stubborn.
Well,
I'm a stubborn bastard.
yeah, well.
I mean, I'm stubborn to a degree where it's up there with a godlike quality.
the god of stubborn.
That's me. I say, okay, no one can see me.
Yeah.
I just don't know how to explain it, but I'll work on it.
I know.
And on my deathbed then,
but it's interesting because I don't get to talk to artists actually, because I don't run in artist circles. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like I'm like the layman. You know what I mean in terms of art, right? If I don't see, I can see that that's obviously a crow, right?
Yeah.
So I know what you've painted, but I don't know exactly why or what you've painted. You know what that means to you. But it's interesting to hear what your process is or where your mind is in terms of creating art. You know what I mean?
Well, it's a minefield.
Because it's very different to my brain doesn't work like that at all.
But everyone's brain
we're all different.
Yeah.
But that's what fascinates me. Like, it's like, how can you visualize that and create things like that when I wouldn't even know where to even begin. It wouldn't at no point in my life would any thought process in my brain ever trigger the desire to put it on canvas. Do you know what I'm saying? It wouldn't even the programming doesn't even exist like in my brain.
In a perfect world, my full-time job would be just painting.
Well, that would be awesome if you could.
That would be my full-time job.
Yeah.
With no orders or shit. Just no matter what he pays for buying it.
Yeah.
That scenario.
Yeah.
I'm good with that. Because then I can fucking do... But I'd still yarn then to go and do stonework.
Yeah.
Because there's a similar kind of fucking crazy that I'm attracted to and energy in the stonework that I feel I need.
Yeah.
Because I kind of love doing the stonework.
Yeah.
But I love doing it my way.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be dictated to in anything.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I think what you have what I would consider to be a craft as opposed to a job. Do you know what I mean? Right. So you're applying your artistic. Your artistic side of you is you're applying it into a craft that you can use your hands to create something.
Yeah.
And I know it's a functional thing like a wall or whatever, but it's still artistic. It's not just
beautiful.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
When the light gets it on the right time.
Everybody appreciates good stonework. Like we always stop and you might drive
You
past.
won't appreciate what I'm doing at the moment.
Yeah, I know.
The fucking twisted
But
fucking thing.
I don't think anyone can say that they don't appreciate like the craft that's behind good stonework, you know, like.
Well, it's the vision and the balance.
But
I mean, you can spot a bad stone wall straight away.
But like going back at, the ancient stone walls that are still standing, right?
Yeah.
Like no mortar at all. These are just laid and keyed together in a certain way. Like that shit's mind-boggling. Like, you know what I mean? You're looking at those walls and kind of going like,
just breaks my brain.
How did they do that? Like, or how did they develop that knowledge? You know what I mean? Or
I'm convinced it wasn't man as we know man that built those things. Say what you want after that, but just, I mean, there's fucking stone slabs perfectly cut there that are the tonnage on them. We don't even have the machines to lift them today. That's a fact.
There is a mystery. I've seen a couple of documentaries about that, and there is definitely a mystery around how all of that was achieved back then. You know, even if they're say I would believe that they had an understanding of architecture and a skill set that kind of got lost
A lot of things
right?
got lost. Right?
So we like there was for example, ancient civilizations we know were way more advanced than we would give them credit for.
Way more
Do you know what I mean?
than we are.
Yeah, but like we're
children in the dark.
Yeah, but like at the moment, like humanity is kind of taking a bad turn. You know, like we were kind of, we're making scientific breakthroughs and learning and growing and growing as a species.
We walked off a cliff,
and then at some point we fucking
we're the buffalo in that picture going over a cliff. That's where we are.
Yeah.
That's gonna take
That's it. Yeah. Oh yeah, we're going, man. Yeah, that's good.
It was, I think it was the first time Mike Tyson was on the Joe Rogan podcast,
Right.
and he was on about getting fat and stuff, and then he was too fat for his clothes, and then he was thinking. He was afraid to train in case he released what he calls Iron Mike.
Okay.
The psycho.
Yeah.
But then, so Joe Rogan, he's a big fucking, he's fanatical in nearly everything he takes up, he gets fanatical about. So they're talking about just running on a treadmill.
Right.
Mike Tyson's like, nah, I don't do treadmills.
Yeah.
And he goes like, why not? Because there's something about running outside. There's a spirit with you outside that it tied into something else. I read this book from a horse breeder in Italy, I think in the 1800s, and he maintained that the physical action of the mating of the two horses added an extra fucking electrical fucking thing that it would be identifiable in the character of the
foal, like yeah.
Whereas the ones then who are artificially inseminated will just not have.
Yeah.
It was fucking. My mind went off like a tree. It branched everywhere because I was thinking of all these fucking books I'd have read like that were kind of nearly comic books in a sense.
Yeah.
With regards to 1 out of every million is a real entity. Where the rest of them are a watered down version of what this is meant to be. They're all meant to aspire to be like this guy.
Yeah.
But there's about 1 million that just will never get there.
Yeah.
And it's just the way of the world or whatever.
Yeah.
And it ties back into when the horse guy, and he had some examples of proving his theories and shit.
Yeah.
And let the horse choose her mate as opposed to let her get raped by this fucking winner. And he just said all these things are favourable in the end product of a racehorse.
Yeah.
And then when Mike Tyson was going on about the difference he found, just because do you have a headset, Mike? But no. What do you mean? How long would you run? He'd run for fucking miles.
Yeah.
He goes, just something about being outside. You get away from the streets, you're in the countryside, you're running away from the city.
Yeah.
And he says, just the openness of it all.
Yeah.
There's an energy that just goes into him.
Yeah.
And I was fucking blown away by this shit, man. It was like, sometimes I can listen to Mike Tyson for hours and I'm thinking, this guy's got brain damage.
Yeah.
And then 10 minutes, for a whole solid 10 minutes, he could talk about whatever, and for maybe 10 months.
Surprise you, like,
For 10 months after that, you're in some capacity.
I have never heard anything like that about him. I never heard that.
He can have some very profound thoughts. He's got some very profound thoughts.
Yeah.
There was a guy asking recently, so about this upcoming fight, blah, blah, blah. You're old now, you're nearly 60. And he goes, no. Old by what? By who?
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't know what you're talking about. I know how I feel.
Yeah.
And how I feel isn't old.
Yeah, exactly.
And he goes, I didn't make the calendars. I didn't make the clocks. And I'm not the prisoner to them.
Yeah.
It was like, I could relate to a lot of what he'd be saying in a weird kind of way. Because it ties back to the further you get along in life, you forget that you've consumed so much opinions or books or theories or whatever that you don't know what they're actually on about, but there's something about it that got your attention.
Yeah.
And then it accumulates, and then someone somewhere, or a painting, triggers it, and it just puts it all together for you in a perfectly understandable way.
Yeah.
And it gives you new vision then. and off you go again then on another fucking roller coaster.
Yeah.
But again, tying it, like, I can tie a lot. I can walk parallels with the painting and the stonework, and now with the archery, there's another fucking line.
But it's interesting how our I was thinking there. I was saying earlier about, like, I can't relate to your ability to transmit your inspiration to canvas, but I can totally get how your archery, your painting, and your stonework is kind of has so much commonality to it, right? Because, like, I've often thought that my interest, the main interest that I've kept with me my whole life from childhood, has been archery, obviously, and fishing, and playing musical instruments. So all around the same time, I started fishing in earnest with my dad as a fly fisherman from the age of 9. I got my first guitar, I think I was 11, and I got my first bow at 12. So those three things, right?
Yeah.
Kind of, and you can kind of say, like, there's a lot of similarities really in those in those activities.
Or your approach to them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and they've stuck with me my whole life, and probably for much the same reasons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would imagine. You know what I mean? So,
well, I've struggled now with my guitar for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
As in to pick it up.
Yeah.
But up until then, I couldn't, if I'm in a room talking to someone the guitars, I couldn't put it down.
Yeah, I know.
And I'd be just always fucking writing shit, just pure shit.
Yeah.
But 6 months later, I might get 5 different pieces of shit.
Yeah, and it might come up to
and
something.
take the bits that I thought were working and put them together, and off I go, and I'm like in heaven.
Yeah.
But I don't know, when one thing goes, it's usually a chain reaction.
And
it's like, then they'll all die a little, and then they'll all resurrect with a fucking vengeance.
Yeah, see, like, where I would struggle with the learning of the instrument thing, and just generally playing music for enjoyment and stuff, is that it's like, if you don't take it from the practice world and apply it in the performance world, and it doesn't have to be on stage. Like, for me, it's meeting the lads down the pub, having a couple of pints and banging out a few tunes, or like we did at the Dunbrody, having a few tunes and the crack around the campfire.
Yeah,
like that's performance enough. Right,
it's so fun.
It's just it's great, Craig. But what it does is it takes it out of the practice realm and puts it into the performance realm. And, like, could you imagine if all you did with your bow was stand in your yard and shoot at the target that you have in the yard over and over and over and over again, and never ever went to the forest, met the lads, shot the 3Ds, had the crack, tried to win the medals, all that other good stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It would probably stagnate on you. Do you know what I mean? It would, and it would.
I guess so.
Yeah, when I struggled most with playing guitar, is that, like, I was so enthusiastic at the beginning, you know. Yes. Like, I was literally like, what's his name, Bryan Adams' song, and played it till my fingers bled kind of stuff, right? Do you know? And I was all weekend, like, I'd get my homework done and I'd just be like obsessed, learning one song after the other, blah blah blah. And my mates in school were significantly better than me, so I was like, I'm going to be as good as them. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I really loved it, right? And I still love it, don't get me wrong, but without an opportunity to take it out of, you know, you're sitting on the corner of the bed for fucking 10 hours a day learning stuff, and you're going to go, you need to get that shit out of the bedroom and just go down and jam with some people, you know what I mean? You know? Yeah,
but it's like you're an orchestra, or what's the guy who does the fucking orchestra?
The conductor.
I'm like a conductor of myself at the moment now, and I have to be very aware of, you know, like everyone else is. You know, everyone says, well, look, I'm balancing all this shit here now, and I'd love to go over there and flake the drums, but it's not required right now. It will be later, but not right now. I'm, you know, I have a good foundation to just pick it up and have a laugh with it. Because I could never get into, when I was being shown how to play the guitar, they were showing me how to play songs.
Right,
And I thought, okay.
Yeah,
like, these are shit songs.
Yeah,
but I'll go with it.
Yeah,
I got to get in.
Yeah,
and then I got the guitar part pretty good. I thought.
Right. Okay.
But the words, the song, it just
they weren't for you, like.
So what I did was I rearranged the chords and I wrote a new song. And I was just like, I look at the structure of the way this song is.
Yeah.
It's a good song, apparently. The person who wrote it, very famous. But fuck it, I'll just say, that's how it should look like when you're finished.
Yeah.
So, okay, what can I fucking... And I'll be thinking, I'll play the chords and I'll jumble them up a bit, and then I might take a finger off a chord and see what that does. Have a transition period, let it ring out a bit, and then start fucking around. Next thing, a word will pop into my head, and then an image will follow, and then the image, I can expand upon it, and in turn there's description required, it builds, and then I have a song. I just chop it up to make it look like this on paper. And then I practice the fuck out of that. And that's kind of... I never wanted to be learning anyone's songs. It's not what I want to play guitar for.
I know,
I want to fucking paint something my own.
I get you.
Play and just fucking explore.
Well, it's not... look, I've never written a song. Funnily enough, because I've been playing guitar since I was... What did I say I was? Like 11 or something when I got it first. And I've never written a song, but like I said, it's the same problem with... I've never been inspired to paint anything. I've never been inspired to write anything. I've never been inspired to write a song.
Yeah, but you can learn a song easy.
Like there's my ability to learn something and practice it and perform it and stuff is good. And good ability and good interest, to learn it.
Pretty good
but not I don't have the creativity part, is in like how to take, okay, you've developed a skill set here, you know what to do, now put your own slant on this. Do you know what I mean? It just doesn't, like, for example, like, as much as I love playing music, especially in the company of good lunatics around the fires and stuff like that, because I laughed so hard that night in Dunbrody. It's one of the highlights of my year was
I
the
cringed
Dunbrody
the day
crack.
after when someone sent me a clip of a recording. I was like, oh, we didn't.
But we did, though.
I said, you got to own it.
I remember, I think myself and Keith were sitting at the other end of the table, and you were at the far end of the table with Connor and them playing the thing. Myself and Keith, I swear to God, I was in tears, man. It was one of the hardest laughs I've had, definitely all year, and like in living memory, like we were just in tears, like we were just going, oh my God, is he actually doing what we think we said? But only you would get away with doing what you do.
Thought, fuck it.
They're all wondering now, what exactly did he say, or what did he do?
I was awesome. That's all that needs to be said. But it was so fucking fun. I mean, Connor was doing great.
Yeah, Connor. You can always rely on Connor to bring a guitar to an archery weekend.
We just need to expand on it.
Like I said to you, right, at that weekend, right, before your time in archery, right, there was a cohort of lunatics, right?
That's what.
Yeah. Now, they're all still lunatics, don't get me wrong, right? But for one reason or the other, the lunatics are being diluted, and we don't have nearly as many. No, there's still some key players in it. Still around, but they're at an age now, I suppose. This is just nature doing its thing. They're at an age now where they prefer a bit of comfort to be dragging and pulling and dragging tents and roaring and shouting till 4 a.m, drinking and stuff. Like I said to you at the Dunbrody, you guys are kind of fresh blood in archery, right? Like there's a fresh cohort of lunatics now in archery, which has made it a lot of fun.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean. And now you can go to a camping weekend if you guys rock up, knowing that there'll be a bit of crack.
Oh, damn right.
You know what I mean. Yeah. And that to me is vital in the sport, right? Because I would hate to see us lose that social element of what makes field archery so much fun.
You can't be concerning yourself with how you will be perceived.
Yeah.
Don't be apologising for their weakness.
Yeah.
Fuck them.
Yeah.
That's on them.
Yeah.
If they have a fucking issue, well, that's where they are right now.
I would agree with you entirely, but in practice, I would struggle in certain situations to apply that for myself. I would still have a certain concern about going too far with something that I would be judged upon, you know what I mean? And you're dead right not to be doing it, because you don't need to, like, nobody has the right to judge you for anything. Because
they're
not better than you anyway. So they might think they are, but they're not.
Of course they're not.
They're not, exactly, yeah.
But you can't, there's enough, it's hard enough every day.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
To do what to knock a bit of crack out of your day.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A real crack, where you can fucking be talking to the universe and feeling it.
But, do you know, like, there's something very... What I love about any time that we end up around a campfire, right? Now, this year I got some great experiences. We had the Dunbrody one, but I'm also involved. Well, not so much. I've started to become involved. I'll say, to be more correct, in kayak fishing. Right now, I went away on a couple of weekends with the kayak fishing group this year. My first experience, you know, and there was about 30 of us sitting around a campfire, right? No joke, right? And
that's a nice number.
Yeah, and like we had the whole field to ourselves. It was all organised. They're a very, very well run organisation. Like they plan and they run these scheduled competitive fishing weekends and stuff. It's exactly like what we do in archery, only it's with kayaks and fishing rods, right? That's it, right? So I'll rock up to a field, pitch all our tents, get all our kayaks out, fucking light a fire, crack open the beers, fucking happy days. We all go fishing in the kayaks then the next day. It was great. And I'd like to get involved in it more and get to know the guys better than I do. I've only met them a handful of times, so it's it's a new thing for me. But that night, it was awesome. We were sitting around the campfire. We were on the shores of Lough Derg up in Portumna earlier on this year. Sitting around, all cracking beers, talking shit. It was great. They had a fire pit thingy, one of those cool things.
Yeah.
I don't know who brought it. It was like this big cool thing anyway. Big fire going. And it was
I'm going
so
to get
awesome.
one of them for Dunbrody.
Yeah, it was so awesome. Like, it was really cool, right? This was lovely. It was like a big... It was like a big dish, a big round dish with a lovely stand up. It was awesome, though. It was cool. Yeah. And we were chilling out. Next thing, right? It was a lovely night anyway, as it was, right? We're sitting there, lovely, warm, that still summer warm evening, right? We're just sitting there around chilling. Baby. Fucking awesome. Like, 11:30 at night, you're still in your shorts and t-shirt, drinking a cold beer, Awesome. And next thing, the Aurora Borealis just painted the sky purple. Right, we were sitting there on the shores of the lake, not a fucking light to be seen. And we were looking up and said, "Is that what we think it is?" I've never seen the aurora in my whole life, right, until that night. And I was like, "Oh my God, is this happening?" Like, I can't believe I'm in this setting, this atmosphere, this
perfect setting,
with the right bunch of fucking equally minded outdoorsy lunatics. None of us wants to be sitting in front of a telly. We want to be sitting outside in a field, still wet from kayaking, and
drinking beer.
And next thing, this thing just happened, and I was just dumbstruck, completely.
You can't buy that kind of
stuff. You can't buy it. No. And only the outdoors gives it to you. I remember years ago, I was out. Not nearly as impressive as this, but I was out shooting years ago when I was young fella. I used to walk for miles shooting, right? Miles. Used to go hunting rabbits, and I was down in West Clare. I was walking out along the cliffs at the crack of dawn, right? And I was out shooting. I'd walked about 7 miles from where my parents had their mobile home down in Kilkee, and I was out along the cliffs, right? And next thing, 4 F-14 fucking fighter jets flew in formation down along the coast of West Clare. Like, I could see the pilots in their fucking windows, and I was standing in the middle of a field in me wellies with a shotgun going, "What the fuck?" Like, and me being who I am, but me being who I am, I don't engage with the news, the newspapers, the radios, anything. I've had an aversion to it. My dad would consume the news and political affairs, and I have an allergy to it, right? And so I was I was genuinely surprised by this. Of course, everyone else in the country knew that there was an air show, I think it was in Cork, and the JFK aircraft carrier was visiting, and it was a big hullabaloo. Muggins here was out in the middle of a field in West Clare at 5:30 in the morning in me wellies trying to hunt rabbits, and these fuckers flew right down over it, and it was the most surreal moment. I was going, what just happened there? Like, how did I end up in the middle of a scene from Top Gun? Like, is this still the West Clare? Yeah, oh, it is, yeah. Like, what the hell? Like, and I came back, like, dumbfounded, and I said it to Dad, you're never going to believe what happened when I was out the cliffs. Oh, really? What happened? I was walking the fields, and 4 F-14s came flying down the coast, like, really low. Just literally all the way down. He said, oh, yeah, the JFK is visiting in Cork. And I went, oh, okay. And I was thinking, like, that would explain that. Yeah, he said they were doing an air show display. They probably took the coastal route home just to see, the whatever. Yeah. And I was like going, oh, right. I was like, but it was it was blissfully bizarre when it happened. Do you know what I mean? Bet. It was so, like, what's the last thing you'd expect to see?
Seagulls.
Yeah. It was like, yeah. Oh, it was mad. Like, it was so
I think bizarre. The best thing which is nothing like that, but at the same time, maybe it is. We went down to see the tall ships when they were in Waterford.
Yeah, lovely, yeah.
And we heard they were taking off the next day, so we went down to... Where did we go? We went to the wrong side of the country, basically.
Right, yeah.
Apparently they changed their mind and they were going up the Irish Sea, up round to Dublin.
Okay, right.
We were expecting to come up around the other side.
Right.
So I think where were we? I had a lovely cigar while I was waiting.
Oh, very nice.
Very nice. My favourite one, the only one I'll smoke really would be the Romeo and Juliet number 2.
I do not know the brands except for White Owl. My dear old grandfather used to love them.
It's a chunky fucking cigar, and it's like, it'll last.
It's a proper Churchill job, is it?
Oh, dude, it's because I didn't know nothing about cigars.
Yeah,
we were in Prague the first time, and I remember Lucy saying her dad is into cigars.
Right,
just a cigar store.
Yeah,
we go, and I mean, this was just all about cigars.
Yeah.
Proper job.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I don't know, but I liked the look of the. I think she rang him and he said Romeo and Juliet.
Right, okay.
So I said, we'll get 1, 2 and 3. Get like a bunch of them. They were kind of expensive, I thought, because I was like, fuck, really? Get them.
What's a single cigar worth?
Maybe 25, 30 euros at the time. And that's in fucking Prague, like. I was thinking, but... So I think I got maybe 12 cigars.
Right, okay.
Dropped a ton there.
Yeah.
And the first one I didn't like. It was just ridiculous. It was just fucking like eating that microphone.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
It's horrible, like, yeah.
The third one wasn't, it was like the polar opposite then.
Right.
It was like too small.
Yeah.
But the middle one, the second, number 2, was just a pure Arnie cigar.
Right, yeah.
And I thought, that's a cigar.
Yeah.
And it's a cigar. And it was the smell of it. My God.
Yeah.
The smell of it. It was an education, like. But it was delicious.
Yeah.
Fucking delicious.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it to anyone.
Yeah, see, like, I can totally see how you appreciate it, because I remember saying it to you before that my grandfather was that type of man.
Yeah.
Like, whiskey in the cane, a leather cigar pouch inside his thing. He always wore a waistcoat.
Loved the waistcoats.
Pocket chain and a wind-up little watch and pocket watch, and, like... Hadn't two pennies to rub together, but he looked like he owned the fucking country. There's a name
for this mentality. It's actually in some African country. Is it Africa? Well, these boys are in the jungle all the time, but once a week, they're getting done up to the nines just to fucking meet, sit down, drink some good coffee, and listen to some jazz.
Yeah, and elevate their self-esteem and their
it's like they're kings.
Yeah, exactly.
Without it, but it's like, well, look, today we'll dress.
I love, truly love, and prefer to hang out with the oldest people I can find.
Oh, 100%.
Right? Like,
oldest crazy people.
Oh yeah. And like Grandad was my kind of old guy, you know what I mean? Like, he had all that old style class. Yes. But I used to sit beside him when we go on a Sunday morning for a few pints, the classic traditional after the church, let's go for pints, you know. Yeah. So brought up by those men, you know what I mean? Like, so I used to sit in beside Grandad the whole time, you know, and he'd sit there and he'd out with the fuck. Dad, you see, when he was working, had a career where he was constantly flying to faraway places, but he would be going to America a lot. But Grandad used to love this cigar called the White Owl, and they were about that long, not Arnie style, but they were like, do you know the half Corona?
Yeah.
Right. Imagine a full length one of those, about that size. Right. That would be the the typical size of the cigar, right? And Dad used to bring him home boxes of these, right? And he'd always have 3 of them in a little leather pouch inside these things, and out with and off he'd go, right? And fucking smoke everywhere. But I used to love sitting beside him, and I as a young fella, I used to actually inhale the smoke that would be coming past me. Like, it never bothered me, and everyone else would go,
I don't understand those people.
But equally though, I wouldn't be anyway inclined to smoke. Like, smoking never, like, I tried it once and went, fuck that. I turned green. But like, in the company of sitting beside, that's what I'm getting at, is like the appreciation for the smell and the flavour of the good cigar. Do you know what I mean? It's different. It's not like a cigarette, like.
But when you see a man like that, it's like a magic show for me. It's like there's just a run-of-the-mill bar.
Yeah.
Next thing, this guy sits in the corner, and next thing, there's this fucking...
What amazes me about people like that at that age, right? If they have... It's like the good wine thing, the good wine analogy, like or fine whiskey, aging is where it's at, right?
Yeah.
Like, I know from when I was running my own food business and when I became a chef, for that part of my career, like, and I'll say it till the day I die, the best ingredient you can put into any dish is thyme.
Yes.
Right? That's the single best ingredient. The faster you fucking lash something together, the worse it's going to taste, right? The slower you cook that shit, the better. Like, you put on a lamb shank for 8 hours, it's going to taste so much different. You lash a steak on the pan for fucking 4 minutes each side, it's shit by comparison, right? It's shit, like, you know what I mean?
You're talking to a guy now whose idea of perfection is country loaf bread, well buttered, toasted, with beans on it, bachelor's beans.
But
my God Almighty!
Yeah, but
I love this.
But here's where TV chefs will not admit, but every chef I ever met would agree with you entirely. They say, "What do you? Oh, you're a chef. You must cook. You must have something at home on the sous vide, do you?
Microwave?
No, I don't. I want, but like, there's nothing beats good quality bread, crusty bread with real butter.
Yeah,
on toast.
There's only one butter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, the best chefs in the world will acknowledge that. And while you're at it, throw a fried egg up on top of that too.
Fuck.
Do you know what I mean? You see,
a bit runny,
but that's hearty, awesome, good food.
Yeah,
it's not pretentious.
Fuck that.
Like, the restaurants can do the pretentious shit, but real food isn't pretentious.
No,
it's what it is.
Especially the way I eat it.
Yeah, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel at home, and it makes you feel safe, and it makes you feel full.
It tunes you into a good place.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like, everyone likes that. Every chef I've ever met, the best of them, would have been beans on toast and stuff like that. When that's fried eggs, bacon, rashers.
But back to the bread, a good loaf of bread is
yeah.
When I used to be living by myself,
I
was mad for the fucking fresh loaf, and it'd be like, you'd nearly be thinking, it'd be shame now not to eat it all today.
Yeah.
Because I know tomorrow it just won't be as good.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? So I'd eat a fucking chunk of that motherfucker.
Oh, yeah.
I'd be trying to think, what could I cook where I can use most of this bread?
Yeah.
And I'd be getting I'd fuck up a lot. I think I poisoned myself once only.
Yeah.
Maybe twice.
Yeah.
But it was fun. It's just,
you
gotta try things.
Bread is probably that's one of the things that truly separates us from the animal kingdom, is figuring out how to make good bread.
And then
you know what I mean? Like, that is awesome how we've developed bread, like sourdough breads and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, bread is unreal. It's probably the nicest food, if you want to call it a category of food or whatever. But like,
it's come under attack there with some time now, because you'd be listening to these fucking people going on about nutrition and shit, and they're like, stay away from the brain, stay away. And like, what the fuck?
But you see, most of that is marketing, right? Because, like, when it comes down to nutrition, and bear in mind, I do this for a living, right? So, nutrition is just calories in, calories out, right?
Yeah.
Now, there's balanced nutrition, of course. Have a healthy, like, for years, right, they've been saying this is bad for you and this is good for you. And then they say, no, this is good for you, this is bad for you. For, like, take butter, full fat butter, right?
Oh, yeah.
That got replaced by spreads, right?
Plastic.
Which was essentially hydrogenated vegetable oil, right? And then what they didn't see, because they were just being scientists developing that, is they didn't see or foresee that the chemical rehydration of these vegetable oils, right, tricks your body into producing or not producing the correct type of cholesterol, right?
So it's bad for you.
So it's bad for you. Yeah. Now, if you eat full fat regular butter,
Kerrygold,
right? Yeah, your body responds better to that because it sees the butter, the fats, the saturated fats and the unsaturated fats and all those natural things that are in your thing. It sees the chemical levels and kind of goes and responds to process that and produces higher levels of good cholesterol.
Yeah.
To deal with that, right? No, that's not to say that you sit down and eat 4 pounds of fucking Kerrygold butter every day because that'll kill you stone dead.
Of course.
But it's what I'm getting at is it's like whole foods are natural, real sugar is natural, real butter is natural, full fat milk is natural, bread is natural, right? What's wrong with bread is that they've taken all the fibre out of it. Like I had a bakery for years and I was a pastry chef. There's a saying in the bakery game: the whiter your bread, the sooner you're dead.
Really?
Yeah. And that's true. White bread will kill you stone fucking dead because it's all fucking starch. There's nothing left. They've taken away the wheat germ out of it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's just the starch, right? And why the hell people think that, like, we've sort of somehow taught people that white bread is somehow better than others, or people kind of like we're raising people on white bread and they won't eat the whole grain stuff anymore. Like if you made brown bread yourself from whole grain flour, add wheat germ to it, add your own pinhead oatmeal to it, plenty of fibre, and even you can blend the white flour with the with the whole grain flour to give you get the benefit of the white flour in terms of that kind of gluten formation and its ability to hold the bread together nicely, cuts lovely, and you have all the benefit of the full fibre of the wheat germ and the pinheads oats and all that kind of good stuff that's going on. You know what I mean? You can eat that stuff till the day you die and it'll fucking keep you right as rain.
There's a lady in Mitchelstown who has like a shop where she bakes all the bread.
Yeah.
And when I had the time there, like, because one summer we'd go over there like regularly and I would go to her shop and I would get a loaf of bread. And it was divine.
Yeah, of course it was.
Fucking divine.
Bread in itself isn't necessarily bad for you. You know what I mean? But like, all you have to, like, all these fad diets and stuff, right? You know, everyone wants the quick fix, right? There's only it's a very simple thing, right? No, I know I have to practice a bit of what I preach because I carry a bit of weight, but I'm not like out there, and I'm still active enough to be able to hike the forest with the best of them and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
But like at the end of the day, it's a simple equation: calories in and calories out, right? But what type of calories and where does the calories come from, right? So if you want to lose weight, right, the calories in have to be less than the calories out. It's as simple as that. That's all it takes, right? If you want to eat healthy, just balance. Eat whole foods. Eat bread if you want to eat bread, but eat the right kind of bread. Try to eat something that's got fibre in it, right? And not just all starch, right? Have full fat butter. Lash it on your toast if you want to. I mean, lash it on thick.
I want to see a river.
But don't just eat that all day long and nothing else. Like,
fuck no.
You know what I'm saying?
I have to have my eggs.
Balance it. Like, put it this way. Like, you could have. You actually can have your cake and eat it when it comes to dieting, right? Nutrition is only about balance, right? There's nothing wrong with eating a slice of cake. There's nothing wrong with having a can of Coke if that's what your fancy is.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with having a bar of chocolate if that's what your fancy is, right? Just don't sit in your arse and eat that shit all day long. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you have to have balance. It's just about balance. That's all.
Well, when I look at places like McDonald's or Burger King, those kind of places, for me, they're sweet shops at best.
Right.
If I'm going to have one of them things, I had one on the way home yesterday from the gym, and I thought, it was the first time I had a burger that looked like the picture.
Really? Where did you go?
Some Burger King
Oh, is it?
somewhere.
All right,
On
okay,
your
yeah,
way out of...
Yeah, I'm surprised. Actually.
I was too, cause, and the chips were nice. But I was just thinking, I can't wait to get home and have a fucking dinner.
Yeah.
Even though I've had this monstrosity of a thing.
Yeah.
You could taste the meat. Like, do you know that kind of...
I know,
it was a good burger.
Okay, fair enough.
But in my head, I'm like, but it's only sweets.
Yeah.
This is sweets for grown-ups.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd still be like, I don't want the kids eating that shit every day at all.
No.
It's like once in a blue moon, maybe.
No, when mine were younger, I used to take them to McDonald's for the odd treat. But like, I personally can't stand McDonald's, specifically McDonald's. I just think it's junk. But like, you go in with your two kids. What I end up is like, I end up looking at the table at the end of it, and there's a fuckload of packaging on the table.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of going, how much of my 25 or 30 euros for me and these two children did I spend on packaging? Because it looks to me like the vast majority, because packaging is expensive. I work in the food industry, and I can tell you packaging is no joke. It'll shock you what you can spend on packaging, right? And I'm sitting there going, I'm after getting ripped off here. I'm after paying probably 10 euros out of my... Well, it wouldn't be 10 euros, but it's just too much packaging for my liking. You know what I mean? And I'm kind of going, this is crazy.
But that's in everything with food these days, in the supermarket.
Well, yeah, true enough. But like,
she comes home with a big shop.
Yeah, but the fast food industry is 10 times worse for packaging. Do you know what I mean? It's the worst kind of single-use packaging. You know what I mean? The retailers are trying to, try to minimize the environmental side of the packaging and try to reduce as much as they can. But like at the end of the day, that's a genie that's out of the bottle, right? Like supermarkets are here to stay, whether we like them or not. There's too many people in the world. We can't all go out into the woods with a bow and hunt a wild boar and then roast it over a spit.
I'd love to do that once in my life.
I know, yeah, it would be awesome. Wouldn't it be awesome, actually, yeah. I have ambition to do it at some point,
Me too, when I'm
yeah, no, it would be awesome.
Holidays,
I'd love to
because
I have done, I'm sure you've done it as well, but I have done wild food days in my time where I just like said, right, I remember like when I was shooting years ago, the best meal I ever had in my life was I got a couple of young rabbits that morning, and on my way home I found a patch of the most amazing wild field mushrooms, and I gathered them all up as well, and I landed home with rabbits and mushrooms, and I did the butcher and all the rest. I gave them to my mum, and she turned it into the most amazing fucking casserole I've ever had in my whole life. Like, I can still taste it now.
But it tastes good, probably because you got them. You brought them home. You didn't shop for them.
Yeah.
You hunted for them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There has to be that.
Yeah, but it's all the senses together.
Yeah.
Not just walk into the restaurant quick fix or walk into the supermarket.
The anticipation is gone.
It goes back to your talk about your man who wrote the book about the horses in the wild.
Yeah.
Like the foal conceived in the wild, it's the combination of all the senses.
Yes.
The foal conceived in a test tube, no senses. Just biology.
There's no fire in that one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So food tastes like if you go out and catch a fish, it'll be the nicest fish.
Yes.
I remember having a barbecue with lobster, right? And myself, my brother, and his mates from Galway. This is going back a good way when he was college years or whatever. But we were all into scuba diving. And we had gone scuba diving together. They had the club's boat and gear, and we all decided to go scuba diving together. And we knew a place to go, and we went off and we went into this cave. And I remember nearly shitting myself doing it. Right?
I bet.
Yeah, but we went in and we picked a few lobsters, which, by the way, you shouldn't do. You can't do that. Well, I won't say where or when, but it happened. And we went back. No, barbecue back at the ranch. Cold beers, fucking lobsters on the thing. We went out into the wilds of the ocean and got those motherfuckers by hand, And it was like, you know what I mean? Like that's eating. Like that's eating food that comes with serious sensory overload, and it's the great outdoors happening. You know what I mean? It's adventure. You can't sprinkle adventure on.
No.
But you know what I mean?
But I look at the ocean, and all I hear when I see and look at the ocean is, stay the fuck out. You're not welcome. And I'm like, okay. I'm fine with that.
You're not wrong. You're not
Give me
wrong.
the valleys, the
You're not
mountains,
wrong.
the woods.
Yeah.
I'm grand. I'm happy.
Yeah.
The rivers and the lakes.
Yeah, well...
The ocean, stay there and I'll stay here.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough.
I respect
Yeah,
you.
it is from an environment point of view, and the flora and the fauna and all that other stuff, the biodiversity kind of, like, extremely different to land.
Oh, it's a different
Do you know
world,
what I mean?
man.
Yeah, it's a very different world. Yeah.
I'm not in the mood to be an alien.
Yeah,
I'm staying right here.
Yeah.
Extraterrestrials in there.
But some of us are drawn to that, you know what I
I
mean?
understand that too, and that's, mental health issues.
But the bit that I don't like and I frown upon is it's humanity's arrogance to get upset when somebody gets eaten by a shark. You know what I mean? It's like well, like, you know, you do realise that you were in their domain.
Yeah.
And well, we know now anyway that, like, sharks don't wake up in the morning and go, I think I'm going to get myself a bit of human.
It's an opportunistic kill.
It's even less than that. Sometimes, in the cases where I read some stories about, like, what's it called? The bronze whaler sharks? They're down along the coast of Africa somewhere. There's a famous coastline there, but some local industry had basically polluted the living shit out of the region, right? Killed all the fucking all the smaller species of fish and whatnot for fucking miles of the coastline, right? And then in the following months, there was this massive spike in shark attacks on people, and the local authorities and scientists were kind of, what the fuck's after going on? Like, this is just not normal, Sharks don't... It was like something out of fucking Hitchcock, all of a sudden, why are the fucking sharks suddenly eating us, But what it turned out was when they went to investigate, they didn't know about this fucking illegal spill, this chemical spill, whatever, and they uncovered it by investigating the shark attacks, because the sharks were fucking starving.
Yeah.
Right? So what else were they going to eat?
They have the capacity to eat us.
Of course they do, yeah.
So I have no business in there.
Yeah, you do.
I'm trying to scare the bejesus out of my boys.
Yeah.
Get into their psyche. You do not belong in there.
Well, we don't.
These monsters are in there.
They're not monsters, man.
That's
they're
how I'm selling
They're
it.
just creatures, right?
They're monsters.
Yeah, but like, what I'm getting at is, like, don't complain. If people go into the ocean, and they, by our nature, we're so destructive in the environment anyway, we've nearly forced these poor creatures into a state of starvation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, I saw a harrowing video report of an actual live, or somebody actually videoed this poor guy getting eaten by a tiger shark.
Fuck's
and
sake.
The shark had been noticed for a couple of days beforehand in the harbour where this attack happened, starving, like cruising around in the harbour, starving to death, right? Sure, and then it just took one person to be in the wrong place. What else was the shark going to do? Like, he was fucking...
But there's a serious lack of education, isn't there?
Yeah, this is where it comes to. You've hit the nail on the head.
In most things where you're going to get a fucked up ending.
Yeah.
Education.
Yeah.
Fundamental education would bypass all of that.
Yeah, of course it does.
Yeah,
of course it would.
That's why I'm educating my boys.
Yeah.
These are monsters. Do
Yeah.
not go in the ocean. They can come up to your knees and eat you. And I just gotta shock the shit out of them now with I'll just put that on for you. Oh my god!
Well,
I didn't know.
You're in danger of creating a kind of I suppose, of a hatred of a species that doesn't deserve it. You know what I mean?
That's what a friend said to me. He said, "How dare you do that to them?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Fuck you! I'm not going to be watching some internet clip."
If you ask me, there's no monster bigger than humans. If you ask me, they're the biggest monsters on the planet.
Definitely, we are.
But I mean, all them fucking cunts harvesting nothing but the fins off the sharks and throwing them back to
look at the way they treat people.
Yeah, I mean, like, humanity is just the biggest monster.
There's a bad apple, man.
Yeah.
A bad apple,
I mean, there's good and bad, but predominantly we seem to be pretty bad when it comes to environmental.
I'd like to believe predominantly we're the best. Unfortunately, the good news doesn't sell. So they get all the fucking shark attacks, fucking all of this bullshit.
Yeah.
They'll maximise it, and that's all you're going to get in your phone. Sometimes I look at my phone, what the fuck is this? I've no business seeing this.
Yeah, why is this here?
So it's like, we're still in this transition period as well with regards to how to behave with the internet.
Well, yeah, true enough. Actually, yeah, I'd agree with you.
Even my kids are fucking. They think it's normal, but even at that, it's like no.
Yeah, it's not normal.
They don't know how to get.
It's not normal. I don't think there's any huge. I don't think there's a real happy ending with that with the internet. Do you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. It has. It's like everything, you know. Like everything has a use, and if it's used correctly, there's no issue. If it's abused, then it's a problem. Abused. Like, you know, like that's an ashtray. Use it for an ashtray. But pick it up and hit somebody over the head with it as a weapon, then it's abused. Now it's an evil thing. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, you know, it's the correct use of things. And at the moment, like you said, the internet kind of didn't come with a rule book. It just happened, you know.
It just coincided, I feel, with a severe breakdown especially in the Western world, with the education system.
Yeah.
I mean, I identify as a cat.
Oh, that's weird.
Take your belt off and just flake it over. Because that's just the pandering to this clearly mental fucking issues.
Yeah. There's some very weird stuff going on.
And it's just fucking.
I'm pretty sure, even though I'm no expert on it, but I'm pretty sure that 100 years ago, people weren't going around saying, I think I identify as a cat or a dog or a fucking tree, or, you know, I don't think that was part of the human psyche, you know what I mean?
Interestingly enough, I was listening to a historian guy who's, I mean, even if you're not into history and you listen to this guy, he's so enthusiastic. I mean, this guy goes, he could be on a thing for a year before he present a 1 hour podcast.
Right, yeah.
Fucking
dialed
right in.
Yeah.
And he gives all the angles, and then at the end of giving you all the facts from all these various qualified, renowned historians, he'll sum it all up and he'll give you what he thinks. And then it's up to you then to say, well, you follow the story.
Yeah, of course,
But he maintained that when Rome was falling, similar activities were reported.
All right.
Kind of out of the blue, but these fucking people have gone crazy.
Yeah.
And, you know, the defences are down now because they all think they're cats or some shit.
Right.
You know, there was like a mental virus.
Right.
Okay. That's the best way to...
Yeah.
It just eradicated the authority. Right. Not the authority is wrong, but the sense of being.
Yeah.
It's just eradicated it. Like, it's like they got a bad fucking... spam.
Yeah.
They got spam.
Well, look, I mean, anything can happen. Our brains are so fucking complicated. It wouldn't surprise me if something can happen, you know, like...
But people always expect, because of the movies and the conditioning of entertainment that it is, that an alien invasion is the sky full of flying saucers firing lasers at us. But what if it's not? What if it is, in fact, a mental infection?
Well...
That'll eradicate them.
Well, yeah.
I get rid of most of them anyway.
Yeah. Just from my sort of, if I was to say there is a threat, let's say, to humans' existence or whatever, it's kind of our own doing. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
Like it's the there's a finite resource on this Earth as it is, and we're definitely over consuming. You know, there's only there's a limit to how much you can do of it in anything of that. That's obviously a finite limit, you know. But like, if you ask me, if any form of biological threat out there, it's probably going to be a microorganism, a disease of some description or whatever, and
there's plenty of them.
I won't say there will, but there could be a day where one of those little things gets the better of us. You know what I mean? It could be...
Especially the way the fucking dopes in America keep fucking with shit. Leave it the fuck alone. You've no business fucking with it. You can't.
Yeah. We don't know yet, like, but, you know, I'm just saying, like, that's kind of where a realistic threat could come from, if you ask me.
But
you know what I mean?
You have to ponder on things that aren't a threat to have a good life. If you're going to ponder on Well, you never know. This time, you can't live there. You can't.
Well,
live
I
there.
don't live
You can
like
only
that.
Live here.
I don't live. I gave up any form of dwelling on the negative years ago, because like I don't spend my days going, oh, maybe we'll run out of, we the environment will turn against us. We'll all be wiped out by a tsunami or something. I don't think like anything like that ever.
Did you ever notice before you give up the news that there seemed to be a fucking cycle of these fucking mystic Megs on the news saying, "Oh, we're all fucked. There's a comet coming about 10 years from now."
Since the dawn of time, like, people have been talking like that. There's always been somebody.
And unfortunately, now, because the internet will accommodate these things,
yeah.
like I say,
but you see, like, there's a lot of
steroids.
Thankfully, now there's a lot of educated debate about the effect of the internet and one of the key points from educated people observing and discussing and reporting on this thing is that the internet very easily facilitates a mob of the similar type of people that, like, if they believe whatever conspiracy this or whatever that or whatever, or if they want to create disruption or whatever, it's very easy for these people to come together on the internet. All too easy, yeah. Because there's no barriers now. Like, there's that laptop there connected to the internet here in Ireland, and it's connected to millions and millions of people all across the globe, and it's very easy to get like-minded people, both good and bad, together. Do you know what I mean? And then they start coming together. Do you know what I mean? That's dangerous, like,
It is, but it's always been there again. I mean, it's like, if anything, it's their very nature is what will ring the bell for you.
Yeah, of course.
Because oh, look at these crazy crackers over here.
Yeah,
We're going to keep an eye on them.
Yeah.
He's Googling this shit.
But you see, they're to me, that's majority rules. Always in the history of time, where, like, you get these, I don't know, whatever, just bunch of lunatics trying to, I don't know, form a cult or something, or do something
religious,
whatever, or what. Like, the vast majority of level-headed normal people or whatever go, no, fuck it, we're not having that. Like, you know what I mean? Thankfully, because there's always going to be enough, stable people to kind of
balance it,
to suppress this nonsense.
Do
you know what I mean?
I was listening to a conversation the other day. It was called, it was a podcast where the host was talking to he described him as the smartest man alive.
Yeah.
He's the highest IQ recorded.
Okay.
And he lives on a farm in the middle of nowhere. And he says, why does a man with the highest IQ, the smartest man in the world probably, why does he live on a farm in the middle of nowhere? And he's just looking, because I'm the smartest man in the world.
I was going to say, I bet you he said something like that. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going through some of it, and I was like lost.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you'd be thinking you're getting there.
Yeah.
It's where's the money? Where's the money? Where's the money? There, over here. James is lost. But I like.
He's intelligent enough to see the beauty in that.
He's not that fucking intelligent, is my opinion, because he went on for over an hour.
Yeah.
And I was like, usually when I find these kind of things, I'm like, interesting.
I think there's more to a person's, like, calling it intelligence is one thing, but like measuring something like IQ is just an arbitrary measurement.
As well. He brought that up.
He himself said that. Yeah. Like I don't understand how you put a number on something like that.
It's stupid.
Because, like, you can take a person's.
It's per task required.
Yeah, but, like, it's the collective. It's the experience, the skills they've acquired over their life, their emotional. Yeah, it's like you're not just a number when it comes to the ability of your brain to function intelligently. Like, there's, like, you can't, like, your opinion on things doesn't just come from IQ. It comes from, okay, obviously a high level of IQ means your brain is obviously capable of reasoning things quite well, I'd imagine. But, like, your opinion on certain subjects or how to deal with certain problems is probably more influenced by your your previous experiences,
Yeah.
the knowledge you've acquired in order to a certain level of wisdom about it. Do you know what I'm saying? Rather than
experience.
Yeah. Like, because just arbitrarily having a number said, "Oh, I have an IQ of 150." It's like, hey, yeah, you could be a fucking lunatic. Like,
Bye. He's a threat.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, it's just, it's.
But it was like the way your mind framed the whole thing wrong. I mean, he's excited, supposed to get the guy in, blah blah blah. But I would never say in the world. Well, except for the Red Fox jerseys.
Yeah.
Probably the best.
Oh, actually, I saw you post about them, actually. I have to say, because I haven't seen them in the flesh, let's say.
They're savage.
But I saw them because Keith had sent through the artwork.
Yeah.
You know, because there was some of the logos had to be approved and stuff like that,
yeah.
which is all cool. But I was like, oh, yeah, that's fucking cool.
Dude, it's fucking...
Yeah, they're really nice. They're really nice, yeah.
When we were having a discussion about it, everyone was so fucking traditional, and I was like, I hate fucking committees.
Yeah,
I'm just not a committee guy. I need to be a dictator sometimes. Because this is bullshit, okay?
Yeah.
And then I was trying to reason my logic.
Yeah.
And I was like, that makes no sense. Yeah. They were on about, we should have, like, the name of the club should be, like, the geography of work. Fuck off.
Yeah.
And my argument to him was, what does a gorilla playing drums, listening to fucking Phil Collins have to do with chocolate?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. It's just the visual, like. It's
just imagination. Set things alight.
Yeah, but James, look, you do art. You're an artistic guy. You have a creativity about you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
where, like, the rest of us struggle with name and stuff because, like, if I would be the type of person who would probably go, the name of the forest that we train in is, Saint Jeremy's Forest or something stupid.
Yeah.
So we're the Saint Jeremy's, archery club. It's like boring as fuck, but it is what it is. You know what I mean?
I'd be always aware of when you go to all the club shoots or to UKFAC. I'd be always looking at when they do wear their club shirts.
Yeah.
That's fucking could have been better.
Yeah.
I'm always fucking critiquing everything in that respect because I knew that we were going to probably go down that road very soon, and we needed to be on the ball.
Yeah.
And then the way it came about was just pure fucking.
Yeah.
But when it was just some of the things that I was like, I can't believe he just said that.
Yeah.
I just felt like frustrated.
Yeah,
super frustrated.
Well, it turned out with a great jersey.
It looks savage.
It's very cool. Like, I have to say, can't wait to see you at the shoots with the man. Like,
me too. The last one I was wearing about 10 other things over.
frozen was it or raining? Yeah.
But we got an indoor thing happening now over in Care. We got a hall.
That's right. Yeah,
we're starting on the 11th.
Oh, very nice.
Monday, but that's just for the,
Yeah.
We'll go in and suss it out. Then it's starting in earnest on the 8th. I should know this. I did a fucking... I got all the facts off.
Yeah.
I was like, that's just never going to fit on an image.
Yeah,
because it'd be gone in no time. So I came in here and I did like a blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And managed to fuck that up, but I put it out anyway.
Yeah.
So it's, I think the 18th is when it's going to in earnest. But I'm just hoping we can kind of get a long-term kind of...
Yeah, no, it'd be great. It'd be brilliant, yeah.
I really want to get some indoor shooting going for the international indoors in February. And for the mail-ins.
Yeah, 100%,
So that's kind of where I'm headed. I think we have a shoot not this weekend, but next weekend. I think we have a shoot. The last shoot of the year, really.
Yeah.
Hoping to get to that. I have to fucking flip a coin with Lucy. I'm hoping it'll be kind of cold, then she won't go. Then I can go.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what it's all about.
It's all about it. Roll on the winter now, and we'd have the crack shooting at the indoor stuff. It'd be good fun,
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. I'm trying to debate whether I'll chance shooting the next AFAF champs for the indoors, which will be next February, I presume. Yeah. There will be Nillockdoll will do it again over in the C2 Arena where you had your showdown last year.
That was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. But I'm actually kind of thinking, would I chance doing it just for shits and giggles with the bow hunter stuff rather than the sighted one, Because I've been dabbling with it on the it was 2 years ago. 2 indoor champs ago when Cork City hosted it.
All right.
That was my first time doing that was the first year of the indoor Champs in its new format, right? And I shot Bow Hunter at that. But to be honest with you, I put no time into it whatsoever, and I totally tanked it on the day. I got so nervous doing it, like I couldn't settle on the gaps or anything like that. It was a disaster of a fucking weekend of shooting. Now, great fun, but it was a disaster score-wise, you know what I mean? But in recent times, since I kind of went back to the Bow Hunter during the summer, shooting the shoots like at the 3Ds and getting back into the swing of the Bow Hunter, I'm trying to kind of get to a point where maybe I'll just keep the freestyle or Olympic style recurve for the field and hunter discipline, which it works very, very well for that.
Yeah.
And then just do the Bow Hunter for the 3Ds thing. But I'm not really sure whether I'll bother which one I'll choose for the indoors.
I go to Bow Hunter.
Yeah, but like one of the things that attracts me always to Bow Hunter recurve is the lunatics that are in it. They're all really, really good. And the
They're sharks, the bastards.
yeah, but like the thing about it is you're guaranteed a good few people in the category, right?
Yeah.
And that to me is what makes it fun.
There's
right?
a lot now at the Champs, I thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I was there.
I don't know, was there 15 of us in the Champs?
Easily.
I think? Something like that.
15
I thought
or
that was
17.
good now. That was a good turnout, you know?
Because I got a bronze for the 1 hour round. And I was thinking, that's because there's only 3 of us here, probably. Because as well as I did, I just figured there's better than me in this moment.
Yeah.
Because I've allowed it to be that way,
Yeah,
number one.
yeah, I know, yeah.
But, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is.
And
yeah.
so when I got the medal, I just told Mark he was getting up. Keep that one for me, buddy. Every chance he gets.
I know, yeah, but you see, that's the banter,
But
you know.
he's so good with it then, like, you know what I mean? He's, you're cracked.
But you need a bit of a nemesis, you know.
Oh, you do. You absolutely do. I mean,
it's great fun, you know.
I was watching, there was 2 films where that would be the true, alright, one of them is horses, so if you can imagine a horse having a nemesis.
Yeah.
But it's called Secretariat. It's really, I mean, it's a fucking true story, like.
Alright, yeah.
And it's so, my most favoured horse-related movie ever.
Yeah,
It's such a fucking wow movie. I mean,
Yeah.
And the footage, I think, at the end, the final race of Secretariat, I think was actually, they blended in actual footage.
Alright.
Dave, if you saw this fucking horse, man, everyone thought that the jockey lost the horse from the off.
Right.
Because he was just fucking
The horse was on his own.
like, and he was just, the gap was fucking huge gap.
Yeah.
I don't think it's been beaten since.
Yeah, right.
And that was for the Triple Crown, which was fucking, but an amazing horse. And up until Frankel, that was the one horse that captured my imagination.
Right, yeah.
They're meant to be doing a movie about Frankel with Jeremy Irons. I love that actor.
Yeah, he's great. He's very good, yeah.
He's got such a authority or something. He's a cool guy. But he's meant to be the trainer. I was very invested in all the video interviews I could get with the actual guy. He's a cool dude as well. He's a bit of a blue blood, but man of the people.
Yeah.
Fucking brilliant story. That in itself is such a fucking story. The Frankel one.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to paint Frankel, but look.
Time
It is what it is.
It's what it is, man. I'd say we'll hit the road, bud, will we?
Shall.
There's,
Thanks for finally coming on to the Blackbird Podcast.
Pleasure, buddy.
And
it's awesome.
It's always awesome on the Blackbird.
But it's always awesome hanging out with you lunatics anyway. It's good crack, you know.
It is good crack. And funny thing, when I got to Dunbrody this year, out of Carmer, I saw the Black Castle Archers.
Oh, yeah.
There's trouble.
Yeah, here comes trouble.
I'm going to orbit that fucking planet. Because I know there's going to be a laugh to be had.
There's always a bit of crack, that's for sure. This is, like I said, it's the new cohort of lunatics now, you know.
We'll have to do this
every generation of lunatics, you know.
They're just